Hey guys. This is a long and complete story. What if Naruto can use space-time ninjutsu and travel between universes? A modification of the seal holding back the Kyuubi has surprising consequences. When each choice brings about a new world, what will happen when different possibilities collide? Hit like and subscribe if you like this one, and also please check the author in the description. Let's start. Chapter 1, Space Breaker. Somewhere in the land of grass, the land was shattered. Shards of rocks were flying, trees were cut, and a bridge was destroyed in a deafening explosion. Faster than the wind, two figures engaged each other in battle, circling, running away, beginning a deadly dance of punches and blows. The fighters were a red teenager with 3 tails and a white man with snakes attached to his hand. The crimson juggernaut's cloak of chakra burned the man's reptilian allies, and a great sphere formed in his left hand. The white snake gracefully avoided it, and the Rasengan instead crashed on the ground, creating a crater as large as a house. Slamming his hands together, the treacherous Sannin began a hand-seal sequence. Dozens of cobras escaped from his mouths, biting the vessel before being consumed by his unholy chakra. The container fell, his body covered with wounds. "Does that hurt much, Naruto-kun?" Orochimaru asked with mock concern. He was filled with a sadistic joy. The teen immediately stood up, while the power of the fox healed his flesh and skin. "I barely felt it," he stated, lying through his teeth, "like your teammate." Orochimaru's clothes were still tainted by Yamato's blood. "But I forget, he didn't have the Kyuubi to help him, so he must have died painfully." Naruto's fists clenched. He only knew Yamato for a few days, but he was saddened and enraged by his death. He failed to save him, like Sasuke. "You will pay for that," he promised. Team 7's mission was to meet a spy at the bridge, a person that could help them find Sasuke. When they arrived, they discovered his identity, Yakushi Kabuto, the treacherous medic Nin. But before they could do anything, Orochimaru had shown up, and Kabuto had attacked the disguised Yamato, revealing his true allegiance to the snake. It was at that moment that Sai backstabbed them. "Why Sai?" Naruto asked, avoiding a swing of the teen's sword. His aggressor didn't respond verbally, only increasing the speed of his assaults. Looking sideways, the demon vessel saw Kabuto and Sakura engaged in a deadly dance of medical jutsu, and Yamato barely avoiding the fists of Orochimaru. "Why are you doing that?" he shouted as he punched the other boy in the belly. "Why do you betray us? It is my mission." His voice was cold, emotionless. "Orochimaru-san has an alliance with the authorities of Konoha, and I cannot allow you to kill him." "That's bullshit." Naruto punched Sai in the head, and he heard his opponent's nose breaking under the strength of the blow. Sai didn't even flinch. "Believe what you want, that's the truth. I am sorry, but I will have to remove you." "Then, I am sorry too." The vessel punched the traitor again, and again. Sai's face was now bruised and bleeding. Sai riposted, cutting the skin of Naruto's left cheek with his blade. A small tear of blood fell on the ground as Sai's disturbing smile widened even more. "If you want to live, you will have to kill me." "We don't have to kill each other. We are ninjas. We are killing machines." The statement was flat, as if it was a universal truth. "One of us will die today. If you don't kill me, then your friends will die too." Naruto suddenly realized something. "You want to die?" Sai's fake smile shattered a bit. It was awfully disturbing, but it confirmed Naruto's idea. "I only live for the mission. I have no name nor identity, only the mission. Death is the only alternative to the mission. You can stop. You can live for yourself." He formed a Rasengan in his right hand. "As I told you, I don't exist. I can't feel anything. I will never be able to live normally. I am a tool. And tools only exist to be used, or to be broken." The smile returned. "Please kill your heart." He charged at the container, his blade in hands. Naruto closed his eyes. "I am sorry," he said as his Rasengan tore the boy apart. And then it got worse. "Sensei!" Naruto could only watch helplessly as a dozen of snakes bit Yamato. The reptiles shredded his skin, tearing away his flesh and basting Orochimaru with human blood. Then, nonchalantly, the creatures released their grip, leaving the bloody mess falling on the soil. The Sannin then glared at the surviving members of Team 7. "Now it's you, Orochimaru-sama." Naruto's Rasengan didn't kill the traitor. It only hit Kabuto's belly. The medic had jumped between the two of them, saving the snake at the cost of his own life. As the vessel saw the transpierced body of his enemy, completely bloodied, Naruto found similarities between the current situation and Haku's death at the Land of Wave. Like Zabuza before him, Orochimaru tried to destroy them both. Unlike the Missnin, he didn't use a sword, but a wind jutsu. Naruto barely had the time to withdraw his arm before the air cut Kabuto's corpse in half. The snake smiled. "Thank you, Kabuto. I knew I was right to recruit you. Still, you could have killed the girl." Disappointing. Disgusted by the man's lack of emotion for his subordinate's sacrifice, and angry at him for killing Yamato, Naruto felt the power of the Kyuubi racing in his veins. As he changed of appearance, becoming more bestial and being wrapped in a cloak of red chakra, Naruto looked sideways at Sakura. "Flee. Return to Konoha. I will kill him here and now, but I need a lot of space. I don't want you to die in the crossfire, but Nar, flee," he ordered her. "Leave," Sakura reluctantly obeyed. "Don't die," she shouted as she disappeared within the forest. "I will come back, I promise," he yelled back. Orochimaru smiled, amused. "I am a bit angry, Naruto-kun, you underestimate me. But let me, in my great generosity, teach you a valuable lesson." He began a hand seal sequence. "Don't make promise that you can't keep." As three tails of power formed in his back, Naruto charged at his adversary, intent on avenging the Sandaime, Yamato, and all the people killed by the man. The Sannin smirked. "Always so strong, so courageous, even in the face of your own failures. Somehow, I have the impression of fighting another Minato, one without the original's talent." The Jinchuriki's eyebrows raised. "Who?" He wondered why did he ask. Sakura's life depended on him, and he had to stay focused. The man's vicious smirk widened. "What, Jiraiya didn't tell you?" he sneered. "But it is not like he taught you anything valuable." Naruto gritted his teeth. The snake was trying to anger him, he knew that, so he tried to calm himself. He had learned long ago that his hot-blooded nature had only brought him problems. While preparing himself to attack, he decided to answer to his enemy. "He taught me many things," the Sannin laughed. It was neither psychotic nor ironical. Simply honest. Naruto was completely taken aback by this reaction. "What? A big sphere of chakra? How to summon toads? Seriously, what did you learn during these last 3 years? How to make a bigger Rasengan?" The three tails of chakra behind Naruto stopped to move as he stiffened. He hated to admit it, but the Sannin was right. As he failed to find an adequate answer, the snake continued to mock him. "Did he teach you how to use toads for practical techniques? Did he teach you his sealing art? Did he teach you any new jutsu?" he asked cruelly. Naruto frowned. "He taught me how to use the Kyuubi's chakra." "No." The Sannin smiled. "This power isn't yours. The fox is only loaning it to you, while killing you from within." Naruto's surprise must have shown on his face, because the traitor decided to explain himself. "Aren't you aware of the price of this chakra? It's breaking down your body, shortening your life expectancy. You must have lost, 15 years of your life during your training with Jiraiya. And let's not talk about how many times you used that power during your battles. You will be lucky if you reach 60. Naruto closed his fists. "It wasn't true, it wasn't true. You must have already felt it before. That suffering, that comes when this red energy fades away. It is only a shard of the existence that awaits you as Konoha's sacrifice." "That's not true!" Naruto shouted. Tsunade lies to you," Orochimaru responded. "If she wanted you to be strong, you would already be able to compete with me without the fox. With the power of the Kagebunshin, your path could have been one of greatness. The power to learn everything, to assimilate the knowledge thousands of your copies have collected." He glared at Naruto. "That power, I have looked for it, killed for it, and you, and only you, could have used it to its full potential." He walked in circle around Naruto, immediately on his guards. "What are you talking about?" Naruto asked, more and more confused. The man was lying, he knew that, but he seemed so honest. Still, his eyes followed his nemesis' every moves. The snake's eyes transformed into two pits of hatred and scorn. "You never found out?" The memories of a Kagebushin always returned to the original. "If you had created thousands clones, made them practice hundreds of techniques, during the last 3 years, then you would have been a credible challenger, and not a banal child dependent on the power of a treacherous demon." The lie was, no, it wasn't a lie, he realized. It was the truth. All the times he had vivid memories of 100 of death, of Gaara's sand crushing him, of that bone freak's deadly attacks. "And do you know that the Rasengan is incomplete?" That elemental manipulation could have finished it? But excuse me, I forget, you don't even know what elemental manipulation is, don't you? Too bad, Sasuke knows. Jiraiya knows. Kakashi knows. I know. Even your friends must know. You're nothing more than a red chakra pump. Konoha kept you on leash, stained your growth, and weakened you. Lies. 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 Lee. But then, they acted the same with your mother, so I can understand. Naruto froze. That proud lady of the whirlpool, so strong, so active, so hated. Orochimaru shouted with an insane glee. The previous Kyuubi's vessel. Restrained by Konoha, weakened, cast aside until your father saved her from her misery. He was lying, you knew my parents, every ninja in this rotten place knew them. The Sannin spat. The Sandaime, their protector, Kakashi, your father's student, he smiled cruelly, Jiraiya, your godfather. Rage filled Naruto's heart, and the Kyuubi's voice roared for blood and destruction in his mind. URLY. Pain raced through his body, as a sword erupted from the snake's mouth, transpiercing his thorax. Rage became insane hatred, and the Kyuubi's chakra intensified. Naruto's skin was torn away as blood and demonic energy fused to create an unholy scarlet armor. As a fourth tail formed behind him and as he took the appearance of a miniature demon fox, the boy struggled to maintain control over his body. Let me kill him, the Kyuubi's voice said in his mind. Let me take care of him. That power is not your own. Orochimaru withdrew the Kusanagi of his opponent's body and this time tried to behead him with an elegant swing of his blade. The composite being's neck stopped the blade like a rock. One of the tails smashed the Sannin, burning the lower half of his body. However, it wasn't enough as a second, fully healed Orochimaru emerged from his older self's mouth. The Sandaime never believed in you. The Sannin taunted. He pretended to love you, but did nothing to help you reach your full potential. You think it is the first time the old fool has done that? Then why do you think I deserted Konoha? He tried to restrain all those who could surpass him. Before the struggling spirit of Naruto could respond, the snake's fingers wrapped themselves with purple flames. And without limits, my power now surpasses the Kyuubi itself. He opened his palm and then touched the transformed Naruto's belly. The container fell on the floor immediately, his scream resonating through the entire battlefield. No word precise enough to describe what the teen felt at that moment existed in this word. Pain was far too weak, and torture an understatement. In an instant, the power flowing in Naruto's veins left, giving way to the greatest dolor imaginable. He felt all of his body burning from the inside. The Kyuubi's coherent spirit was shattered instantly, leaving only his unrestrained hatred and chaotic memories instead. The worst thing was that the red chakra was still leaking from the seal, but without any will to direct it. The wild power shredded Naruto's chakra coils while healing them, filled his mind with terrifying images of slaughter and misery. But despite all his hatred and malice, the Kyuubi discovered this day that even his evil couldn't overcome the sheer determination and willpower of his container. Naruto, despite the pain, remained sane and aware of his surroundings. But as he saw Orochimaru gleefully enjoying his victim's situation with a sadistic smirk, the blonde teen also saw images of his past behind his enemy. The day he learned to tree walk, the day he met Jiraiya, the day he finished the Rasengan. They taught me, he muttered, they taught you the basics. Orochimaru's voice was soft and friendly. Naruto could have mistaken his tone for one of kindness, but he was painfully aware that the Sannin was simply delighted to hurt him even more. Kakashi taught Sasuke his best jutsu. During these 3 years, while I have taught Sasuke Kenjutsu, sealing, practical summoning, genjutsu, dozens of jutsu, advanced taijutsu and elemental manipulation. Jiraiya has only corrected some of the flaws in your taijutsu, taught you how to make a bigger Rasengan, and how to ask the fox for chakra. That is all. He lowered his head to lock eyes with his victim. Because of the Sandaime's and Tsunade's orders. Because your village did not believe in you. Because you were not meant to be a ninja, but a slave. Naruto didn't respond. He wanted to, but he realized it was the truth. The demon vessel was completely self-taught. He had never received help, or never enough. He had never got any real training, only pointers. And he didn't know who his parents were, until Orochimaru told him. Why had he been so naive? Why had he believed they would help him? Why had he loved them? They had lied to him, and he had always known. He realized that, deep down, he had always repressed these thoughts. He wanted their acknowledgement, he wanted them to praise him, and he fell for their false friendship. Orochimaru smirked. But don't worry, you will be avenged. As soon as I take over Sasuke's body, I will attack Konoha again, and burn it to the ground, after I kill your girlfriend, of course. Somehow, Naruto, hearing these words, found the strength to move. He punched the snake in the face. Orochimaru was catapulted backward, hitting a tree and breaking it. As he stood up again, Naruto, covered with an informed mix of blood and wild chakra, felt the seal on his stomach burning. Looking briefly at it, the teen noticed it had changed. It was now a twisted symbol, a black web, fluctuating with periodic pulses of chakra. You are right, Orochimaru, he said while the pain left, replaced with a twisted feeling of omnipotence. This power isn't my own, like this body isn't yours. It doesn't matter. He formed a sphere of chakra with his right hand. Do you know why? Orochimaru didn't respond. Because even among those liars, I found real friends. Images of Iruka, the owners of the Ichiraku, Sakura, the other Konoha rookies, and Lee's team formed in his mind. And I will not allow you to hurt them. At that instant, Orochimaru understood that he had awakened a sleeping giant. Crap, he muttered as the ball of energy reached him, pulverizing the landscape with a bright flash and deafening sound. When the dust cleared up, the Sannin had disappeared. In his place, a giant crater. As the vessel thought his adversary was finally dead, something erupted from the ground. A disgusting mass of white flesh grew more and more, until it reached the size of Gamabunta. 8 heads of snakes were now gazing hatefully at the teen. One of the hydra's mouths opened, revealing the nude torso of Orochimaru instead of its tongue, the Kusanagi in his hands. That's a strong attack that you have there, Naruto-kun, he taunted him. But it's not strong enough. Unfazed, Naruto ran at the beast. He didn't know for how long he could manage to control the Kyuubi's wild chakra, or if he would even survive for long, but at least he would drag the fox and the snake in the underworld with him. As he felt the seal on his stomach more and more, the vessel reached his enemy at full speed. The 7 other heads of the monster reared up to strike, and tried to bite him. But their speed couldn't keep up with the red juggernaut, who avoided all of them. Friends? Orochimaru shouted. That's your reason to fight? Open your eyes. Your friends are dragging you down to their level, restraining your potential. Jumping, Naruto soon found himself flying at Orochimaru himself. They are chains. The Sannin snarled as he moved his weapon. Naruto didn't avoid the stab. Instead, he used the opportunity to grab the man's head with his chakra-charged hands. The blade did penetrate through the wild, chaotic chakra cloak, piercing his left shoulder, but Naruto did not care. His fingers burned Orochimaru's flesh, making him scream with pain. If my life was a lie, the container rasped, with a deep, hollow voice as swirling winds of red chakra enveloped him and his nemesis both. If everything I did was for nothing, if everything I believed in was an illusion, then nothing matters anymore. I don't care if I die here. I'm taking you with me, Orochimaru. The seal on his stomach fluctuated, changed, and space itself twisted into a black hole. No, Orochimaru screamed desperately, as the void consumed his hydra's body. I will not die here. I will reach eternity, and become omniscient. The eyes of your friend will be mine. Everything will be mine. I am Orochimaru of the Sannin, the necromancer, the Sandame's killer, and I will not be defeated. Flesh became dust, blood became gas, and the immortal Sannin was swallowed into nothingness. I am Orochimaru. And my will be done. The Sannin's last words resonated in Naruto's head as he saw him disappear before him. Only the Kusanagi sword, now in his hands, was the proof that Orochimaru even existed. The hole had consumed him completely, like an ogre. The world was breaking down. Powerful rays of light swarmed Naruto, as his surroundings were erased from existence. A crimson wind of chakra enveloped him, and he sensed the seal burning away his skin. I'm sorry, Sakura-chan, he muttered, with sadness in his voice. You will have to save Sasuke without me. A second later, he found himself lying on a street, under a clouded sky. Hey, he kept his eyes closed. Hey, wake up! The girly voice shrieked. Wake up, Naruto grumbled, before opening his eyes. He saw a blonde, cute infant angel. Damn, you're a lazy bastard. Get up or I will kick you in the balls, or maybe not. Naruto gritted his teeth. What do you want? What do I want? You passed out in front of my home. Can't you find another place to sleep? Are you a hobo? Naruto reddened at the accusation. I am not a hobo. I am a ninja. Really? She asked, surprised. Then she noticed his headband. Oh, sorry, are you a hobo ninja? He immediately stood up, with a mask of anger over his face. I am not a hobo, damn it! I am a genin of Konoha. The girl took a step back, terrified, and Naruto suddenly noticed he was still carrying the kusanagi in his left hand. He immediately softened up. Sorry, I didn't want to scare you. I am in quite a bad mood. He didn't know how, but he had survived. Well, he was tired as hell, bruised, and his clothes were shredded at some places. But at least, Naruto was alive. He didn't know where he was, but it certainly wasn't the battlefield where he just killed Orochimaru. Perhaps had he been summoned? Teleported somewhere by the unleashed power? The teen would have to look at the seal to check it out. The girl accepted his excuses with a nod. She was Konohamaru's age, had long, blonde hair, and beautiful blue eyes. She had strange marks on her cheeks, and was wearing an orange vest and pants. She looked like a younger version of his female transformation. As much as he was pleased to see someone wearing the best color ever, he had more important things to do. First and foremost, he had to check up if Sakura had survived. Secondly, he had to interrogate his teachers on Orochimaru's revelations. As much as he was loath to admit it, the monster did have a point, and if his mother really was the previous container of the Kyuubi, then he had to know. Thirdly, he had to warn Tsunade about Sai's treachery. And finally, he had to show Jiraiya the seal on his stomach. Well, he said to the girl. Can you tell me where I am exactly? She frowned at him. Naruto knew this look well. Are you stupid was written all over her face. In Konoha. The southern district, to be more precise, so he was near his home. And in Konoha itself? Was it fate that transported him there? Looking at his surroundings, Naruto found that, yes, he was in front of his home. He saw the Hokage Tower standing far away from them, and the 4 village leaders watching over the town. The teen blinked. 4? Where is the Godame's face? The girl smiled. Godame? I know Sandamegiji is old, but he did not kick the bucket yet. And if you want to see the future Godame, then here I am for you. She pointed her finger at her face. Still confused, the vessel stared dumbly at the girl. Who are you? Me? She grinned. I'm gonna be the future's first female Hokage ever, the great Naruko Uzumaki. Shock spread over Naruto's face. It was definitely a crazy place. It was Konoha. The districts were the same, and with the exception of the missing head of Tsunade, everything was identical to the original village, down to the last house. But the Sandame was alive. The oldest of all Hokages wasn't dead and buried, killed by his own favored student. And the townsfolk were different, younger. First and foremost, he saw some of his friends, the other rookie 9. And they were the same age as Konohamaru. He saw Shikamaru and Chuji eating on the top of a building. He watched Sasuke training at his empty compound. Heck, he even observed Kiba taking Akamaru on a walk. The dog was now a puppy, adorable, but not an adult, like in Naruto's Konoha. Finally, there was one last little problem. So, Hobo-san? What are doing exactly? You're on a walk? The girl followed him everywhere. Like Konohamaru. Though if she was who he thought she was, then it was expected of her to seek the company of a person that didn't ignore or threaten her. He sighed. I am not a hobo. Yeah, right, she snorted sarcastically. What's your name, actually? I gave you mine. Outwardly, Naruto was the very picture of calm. Inwardly, he was a nervous wreck. He thought about what kind of name he could give, and then found one. Sai. He nodded. That's a nice name. Yeah, Naruto said. Naruko is a nice name too. It was completely lame, but it had a strange consequence. The girl's smile widened hugely. It was a normal smile. Not the false one she was always showing to the world. Thank you, mister. It's nothing. He stiffened. The vessel looked at the top of a building, but saw nothing. Strangely, he had the feeling that someone was watching them. He gave his kindest smile to the little girl. You know what, Naruko, I am a bit hungry. Do you know a good restaurant? Yes. She was almost jumping in place. It's the Ichiraku ramen stand, and Ayam-chan and Tsuchijiji sell the best ramen in the world. Naruto nodded. Another clue. You know what, I'm feeling generous today. Do you want a meal? She stared at him with an odd expression. Seriously? Yeah. She stayed silent a moment. And then, you're the best hobo ever. The ANBU gritted his teeth. He knows we are observing him. You're sure, dog? Yugogo Yuzuki asked her senpai. The man nodded. For a young man of his age, he has good instincts. He doesn't show it, but he is on his guard. What do we do then? He mustn't know we are following him and Naruko. Use a genjutsu to mask your presence, okay? She stared at the teen. Who is he? I don't know, dog answered honestly. But if nobody except us noticed his presence, then the barrier is ineffective and our guards useless. If he works for enemy village, then we're in big trouble. He seems interested in Naruko. Do you think he is aware of her condition? I hope he does not, he said. I really do. Ichiraku's was the same place that he remembered. Well, Ayam was a little younger, but the only disturbing thing was the color of her skin. To be this red, was she ill? And for once, the villagers weren't glaring at him, but at Naruko. The first time he had noticed this behavior, he locked eyes with the girl. The sad, dead look on her face was the same that he had worn himself during his childhood, before he met his friends. And what about the dread in her gaze, when she had stared back at him? She was obviously afraid he would reject her. Instead, he had glared back at the villagers. It must have been disturbing for them, to see a teen with the demon girl, if he heard them well. But they quickly decided to focus on other, more important matters. Yeah, the kusanagi on his back truly was intimidating. Well, Sai-san, will that be your order? Tucci asked, with a hollow tone. Yes, the man nodded before giving him the 10 bowls of ramen. Never thought I would see someone eating as much as an akimichi, he muttered, unaware of Naruto's sensitive hearing. He ignored him, like he ignored Naruko's shocked expression as she saw him eat twice as much food than her in less than a minute. When he finished, she was staring at him dumbly, before looking at her 5 bowls of ramen. She began to eat at a surprising speed, as if she could beat his record. Tucci kept his laugh in check, and Ayam only had eyes for Naruto. The mysterious observers seemed to have disappeared. So, Sai-san, she asked with a predatory look. I never saw you in Konoha. Where were you hiding? It was time for Naruto to invent a believable lie. It does not surprise me you don't know me, since I never stay in town for long. I prefer to go out in the field. Your missions must be important. It depends. They go from protect this man to save that cat. More the former than the latter, but it happens. The teen noticed that Naruko had stopped eating and was now looking sideways at him. Ayam kept her look. Naruto found it creepy. And your teen? Perhaps I know them? He smiled. I doubt it. Haku-san is too shy to talk to anyone outside of the group, Zabu-san isn't a social jerk, and Yamato-sensei is one of the most private people around. I would be surprised if someone other than the Hokage knew we exist. She nodded, and strangely enough, her face reddened even more. She closed her eyes, and seemed absorbed in deep thought. And then she tried to close the distance between them. A secret team, with a lot of missions. You must be a very competent ninja. She was now sitting 1 meter away from him. Okay, what was wrong with her? Why was she acting so? And I like competent men. Was she hitting on him? Well, I am quite capable in a fight, yes, he said. As he saw Ayam blink, Naruto hesitated. What could he do to stop the inevitable flirting scene? Fortunately, his guardian angel came in the form of a bratty girl. Really? She shouted as she put herself between the two teens, much to Ayam's displeasure. Can you teach me an awesome technique? Yes. Oh come on, Tishi stopped talking. You accept? Why shouldn't I? He asked. She seemed at a loss for words. It's just that. I never. She stared at him with awe. I don't know what to say. Then say nothing, he said. But aren't you in the academy? Why don't you ask the teachers for help instead? She bit her lower lip. They don't like me. They never help me. Another clue. Then I will, he told her. You promise? She asked expectantly. He smiled. Of course, Naruko-chan. Ayam was looking at them with awe. Much to his displeasure, Naruto understood it only made him much more awesome than he already was in her mind. Naruko did not care. Then, why not tomorrow morning, boss? Unknown to Naruko, Naruto decided to follow her. Hiding on the top of a building, the vessel stared at the young girl as she returned home. In his apartment, to be precise. As much as he knew that it was creepy and just plain wrong to stalk a child, he felt he had to watch over her. Naruto's suspicions were now confirmed. He had no doubts about her identity anymore. Yet, he still couldn't believe the all but stated truth. She was another himself. What had happened? What force sent him in a world where he was a girl and not a boy? Was it a powerful genjutsu? A trick? He doubted it, since the level of detail was far too high for an illusion, and its creator couldn't have known about unimportant things like Ichiraku's or the habits of the other genin. Except the Kyuubi. Taking away his jacket, Naruto channeled his chakra to his belly and stared at the appearing seal. It was a total mess. The seal now looked like a spider's web, with 9 circles inside of it. 9 spirals were enclosed by them. And in the center of the web, a form that looked disturbingly like an eye. The form of the web seemed to change. It was moving, like a living creature. Closing his eyes, Naruto entered his mind. When he arrived, he discovered it wasn't the same sewer anymore. His mindscape had changed. The water wasn't troubled, but as clear as crystal. The corridors now looked like they were made of the purest steel, and were now illuminated, no longer dark and gloomy. "Kyuubi!" Naruto shouted. But he didn't get any answer. It was at this moment that he saw the Kyuubi's cage. It was a spider's web now. A web of dark metal, constantly shifting and transforming. 9 spheres of crystal were trapped by the construct, and Naruto could see a red light inside of them. And in the center of the whole thing, another sphere. But inside of it, he could only see deep darkness. Between the threads, the teen saw strange mirrors, filled with blurry images. Approaching, Naruto touched one of them. The images soon became clearer. He viewed himself. He watched a younger clone of him, at a hospital, healing a wounded Sasuke with medical jutsu. Disturbed, Naruto looked into another mirror. This time, he saw another himself summoning snakes, under the gaze of Orochimaru. In another mirror, he was wearing orange armor and locked in a sword fight against an enraged Zabuza. In another, he was training alongside Sasuke and Itachi, his Sharingan observing Itachi's masterful accuracy with kunai. In another, he was wearing a black suit and dancing with Hinata under strange, multicolored lights. In another, he was smiling as he set a village on fire, killing everyone in the vicinity, before being challenged by a blind Sasuke. In another, he was commanding the trees and plants, under the kind stares of Tsunade and Shizen. In another, he was wearing an Akatsuki cloak and fighting against an adult Gaara alongside Deidara. In another world, he was in the middle of a genjutsu battle with Itachi Uchiha himself, and it continued, ad infinitum. In one mirror he was a hero, in another a monster. He saw himself as the greatest of all warriors and the weakest of all civilians. Naruto watched images showing him training under the Sandaime, Kurenai, Itachi and many more. Sometimes he was dating Sakura, or Temari, or Ayame, or some girl he had never met. In each mirror, something was different. What the fuck? Was the only thing he found worth saying. The Sandaime Hokage was calmly reading Jiraiya's reports about a mysterious organization when he sensed a chakra signature in the vicinity. Looking up, the old man noticed the ANBU with a dog mask in front of him. "What is it, Kakashi?" he asked. The younger ninja removed his mask, revealing his handsome face and his mismatched eyes. His Sharingan's 3 tomos were swirling. "Hokage-sama, I am afraid to say that we have a fake ninja infiltrated in the village." Sarutobi frowned. "A spy? I don't know, but he seems to be interested in Naruko." The old man's eyes widened. "Explain me everything in detail." "We were watching over Naruko, like all times, and she ran into him. He looks like a normal genin, if a bit dirty, but he has an insane amount of chakra reserves. In fact, he is more or less a bijou without a tail. That's disturbing. The only person known with this level of chakra reserves is Kisame Hashigake, an S-rank missing nin. Yes, but that is not the only worrying element about this false ninja. It's his weapon." Kakashi stopped. "The last time I saw it, this sword was in the hands of one of your students. The Kusanagi?" The Sandaime stood up immediately. "This boy is carrying the Kusanagi?" The ANBU nodded, and Sarutobi scowled. "Hokage-sama, what do we do about him? I want 5 ANBU watching him and Naruko at all times. I will warn all the Jounin and ask them to keep an eye on him. If he is related to Orochimaru, then he mustn't be underestimated. If he is Orochimaru in disguise, then we need to take him by surprise. He never cared about collateral damages, and attacking him inside of the village without preparation would be disastrous." "And what about Naruko?" "He promised to train her." Sarutobi's eyes narrowed. Had his student decided to steal the Kyuubi? To take revenge on his teacher through one of the people he cared about the most? "Kakashi, if he tries to corrupt her, if he tries to hurt her, if he tries to capture her, then stop him, no matter the cost." Kakashi nodded gravely. "I will, Hokage-sama." A man was staring at the battlefield, his attention focused on the tiny, little disturbance in space. It was not big enough to warp its surroundings, and almost invisible, but he could sense it. He had observed the fight between the Kyuubi's vessel and the snake Sannin, and had found it entertaining, the results more than anything. He even forgot about his original goal, to observe Sasuke Uchiha's potential. Instead, he was currently analyzing this incredible thing. It was a portal in space itself. A gate to somewhere else in the cosmos. He had never heard of something like this, so it was probably a completely unique phenomenon. And if the slight diminution in size that he noticed was of any indication, a very ephemeral one too, what should he do? He would probably never find something like this again, so it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. But was it worth the risk? After a quick debate with himself, he decided that yes, it was. Without the Kyuubi, the plan was ruined, and if there was a slight chance of recuperating the vessel, then he had to take it. Heck, he might even find something interesting on the other side of this portal. The man advanced, and disappeared into the void. Chapter 2, Alternate Reality. It was a normal morning in Konoha. Most people were asleep. Sasuke Uchiha was training alone, and a blonde girl was running in place. Sai-sensei, what will you teach me? How to teleport, how to breath fire, how to fly. Naruto smiled. They were at a special training ground, with some trees and 3 logs. A few stray memories rushed through Naruto's mind, but he ruthlessly repressed them. He would be to Naruto everything Kakashi had not been to him: a mentor, a teacher, a confidant. I will teach you how to climb on trees. Her face was immediately covered by a disappointed look. But I already know how to do it. Like this? He asked as he began to walk on the bark of one big willow, much to Naruko's amazement. When he reached the top, the vessel turned around and locked eyes with his student. Want to try? The girl immediately ran, and fell after 3 steps. Naruto calmly jumped next to her. Are you hurt? No, I'm not. She snarled before rising up. I'm just surprised. It is normal for your first time, he said calmly. The base of this exercise is to control the amount of chakra in your feet. Too much and you break the bark, not enough and you don't adhere to the surface. She stared at him with a questioning look. He sighed. Chakra is the fusion of your mental and physical energy. Basically, it's your stamina-made form, and the fuel of all jutsu and all ninja techniques. He made a hand seal. If you want to channel your chakra and focus, then make this seal and concentrate. You will sense it. Naruko obeyed, and closed her eyes. Naruto sensed her chakra, and found that her reserves were lower than his own when he had been the same age. The sex difference, perhaps? Was her seal different than his own? The Kyuubi was still in her, however. He had learned to recognize this foul power's distinctive aura. As he saw her walking on the tree and falling after 8 steps, the teenager understood that her chakra control was also better than his own at the same age, and as precise as his current mastery, aka average. After a few exercises, he was sure she would succeed at doing what he had never done, to create a normal bunshin. When will you graduate, Naruko? Naruto asked. In a week, she said as she tried the exercise again, this time making 10 steps. And do you feel ready? Of course I feel ready, she answered. It was a lie, obviously, but it was expected. He had always refused to admit his weaknesses at the same age. Then I won't have to help you with the basics. He knew he was toying with her, but he wanted her to be completely honest with him. It was somewhat hypocritical, since he didn't even give her his name, but he intended to reveal it when she was ready. Naruto found himself wondering if Jiraiya and Kakashi had thought the same thing. That is, if Orochimaru had told the truth, and not lied. His doubts had ultimately led him to decide not to confront the Sandaime. If he was the same as the one Naruto had known, and if his old student was right, then Naruto would probably not be allowed to teach Naruko anything, or might be used as a weapon, or might be directly sent to Marino Ibiki for a muscled interrogation. Even if the Sandaime was as kind as he had appeared to Naruto, the vessel didn't know how he would react to his revelations. The idea of alternate worlds already sounded half insane in his own opinion. He could be sent to a mental institution or worse. Of course, there was the possibility of DNA tests, but if the divergent elements between this Konoha and his own were more numerous than expected, they might fail to help. How could he prove he was an alternate Naruko if they had different parents? All options being risky, Naruto had decided to say nothing, to train Naruko in secret and perhaps to contact a seal master on his own. The seal didn't seem dangerous, simply disturbing and useless. It wouldn't be too difficult. Naruko only talked to the Hokage once per month, or after a prank. As long as she didn't talk to the old man, everything would be fine. Of course, she would talk to him after graduation, and then he would have to explain himself. But when that time came, he would have found a believable story to tell. He was so screwed it was almost funny. Naruko bit her lower lip. Well, I would need help with some things. Naruto smiled. It's the bunshin, isn't it? He asked with false innocence. The little girl stared at him blankly. How do you know? I guessed it. He stared at the tree. You have huge reserves of chakra, but with little control over them. The Bunshin's chakra requirement is so insignificant that it is extremely difficult for a person like you. They can't help but overpower the technique. Her jaw dropped. You mean I will never be able to create a Bunshin? No, I mean that without enough control your efforts are in vain. But fortunately, he smirked, I can help you. How? She asked avidly. By increasing your level of control over your chakra, through exercises like this one. After you reach the top, I will teach you another one, and you should be able to master the technique before your graduation. He suddenly had an idea to motivate her. And if you master the Bunshin, then I will teach you one of my jutsu. Really? She shouted. As he nodded, she hugged him. Please tell me it's a big one. A really good one, he promised, but only if you sucky. Naruko was already on the top of the willow. For the next exercise, they went to the bathhouse, incognito of course. In Naruto's opinion, the water's temperature was relaxing, and it was one of the places where they would be left alone by Konoha's townsfolk. Nobody wanted to see the demon girl nude. She wasn't nude, of course, he wasn't a pervert, despite Jiraiya's mentoring, only wearing a practical white swimsuit that he had bought for her. Since the merchants were less than enthusiastic when Naruko had come with him the first time, even Naruto's menacing stare didn't convince them to sell her something. He, on the other hand, was simply wearing orange boxers and Tsunade's necklace. Hey, Sai-sensei, what is that? She asked. It's beautiful. It's a gift from someone that… He stopped. How should he consider Tsunade now? If Orochimaru had told him the truth, then she had lied to him. But on the other hand, she had risked her life to save him from the snake the first time they had met. Perhaps she wasn't aware of his teacher's bad tutoring? I love her dearly. Her? Naruko's knowing look immediately told Naruto that he had just made a big mistake. You have a girlfriend? Damn, I'm already imagining Ayam-chan's face when… She isn't my girlfriend, he protested. She is far too old for that. Yeah, whatever, she said with a smile on her face. And why does the age difference matter? It matters when she's old enough to be my grandmother. And that I somehow consider her as such. Despite everything, he found himself thinking. But anyway, I don't have a girlfriend. Then talk to Ayam-chan. She is only waiting for your proposition. She winked at him, imitating a kiss. Or perhaps it's because of me? Naruto smiled. Maybe, but back to business. The next exercise is an extension of tree walking, the water walking. He stepped on the hot water. It's basically the same thing, but since the surface is not solid, it's much harder. She nodded. But why are we doing this here, in the men's bathhouse? Why not near a river? He had already prepared an answer. The heat will relax you and help you concentrate. And at this hour, every man is somewhere else other than there. It was the truth, but the real reason he chose this place was far more different. He hoped to meet Jiraiya, his old teacher, to show him the seal, and knowing his habits, the pervert would soon try to peep at the women through the hole in the wall. And he was pretty sure only he, Jiraiya, Ebisu, Kakashi and maybe the Sandaime were aware of its existence. Yeah, he suddenly realized that all his teachers were perverts. Curse the Beetle. The seal had changed, and he didn't know how to repair it. The Kyuubi was nowhere to be found, and Naruto couldn't access its chakra anymore. The strange mirrors inside of his mindscape also bothered him. The situation wasn't that bad, however. Without the Kyuubi's chakra in his coils, his control over his own had increased dramatically. He was not even close of being able to compete with Sakura or Tsunade in this domain, but at least he was now on the level of a normal chunin. Practicing this exercise with Naruko would benefit him too. While he was observing his students' attempts and failures, Naruto unexpectedly gained the memories of one of the clones he had sent at the library earlier in the morning. The information he had gathered on astronomy, mathematics and physics were interesting. If only the original could understand them. He found himself regretting not having studied well at the academy. If he had, he would have been able to find a rational explanation for everything that had happened to him lately. Heck, he might have found a way to return home. Hey, why not correct that mistake? He thought. He created another clone, who immediately left for the library. Somewhere, 2 clones dispelled. This time, the memories were more useful. The first one had been a member of the Rasengan Training Division, and the second of the Kusanagi Training Division. The reports were mixed. While Naruto was now sure he would be able to use the Rasengan without his clones at the end of the day, 100 of his copies were working at it, so it was only a matter of time. His swordsmanship was the same as before, inexistent. He did find how Orochimaru managed to make the sword grow, a chakra pulse, a discovery one of the clones had paid for with his life when the blade had cut through his head, but without the talent to back up this wonderful technique, the Kusanagi was only useful as a spear. He lacked Orochimaru's proficiency, and it was becoming clearer and clearer for him that without a sword master to teach him, his training was a waste of time. He would have to retrieve the weapon later in the day. Naruto sighed. He briefly wondered where he would find a master willing to train him, until he thought of a solution. The toads. Gamabunta wielded a blade, so maybe another amphibian knew how to use one as well. He had to ask Gamakichi about it. Biting his finger, tasting his own blood, Naruto began the hand seals necessary for the summoning jutsu, before slamming his palm on the ground. Nothing happened. Naruto tried again. And again. And again, until he noticed Naruko's questioning look. He locked eyes with her. I have a little problem. The understatement of the century. One of the only techniques he knew wasn't working anymore. Calming himself, Naruto closed his eyes and thought about the possible reasons behind this disaster. Perhaps his contract with the toads had been severed when he had crossed the barrier between his world and this one. Maybe the distance was simply too great for this jutsu to work. The result was the same, no summons anymore. Naruto repressed a scream of frustration. Why was the universe so intent on messing with him? What is it, boss? Naruko asked him. He sighed. It seems one of my techniques don't work anymore, he answered honestly. How is that possible? I don't know, and frankly, I really don't want to talk about it. He looked up at his student. What about you? Have you already mastered the exercise? Yes. She backed up her claims with a demonstration. His sister clone was now standing perfectly on the water. Naruto smiled, and he joined her. He cocked his head towards her. Are you ready for a spar on the water? Of course. Then let's begin. Less than a minute later, Naruko was sinking in the bath. Lifting her up above the liquid with his left hand, Naruto sighed. Let me guess, your only recurring sparring partner is a log, or teachers and classmates outclassing you in everything. Am I right? He already knew the answer to his own question, since it had been the same thing with him, but seeing her nod angered the blonde teen. What the fuck was Irika doing in this universe? At least he had corrected him some of the time in his homeworld. Sorry, but your fighting style is full of flaws. You may get killed if you continue to use it, Naruto smirked. We will have to correct that. Winner, Naruko Uzumaki. The girl looked at the limp form in front of her. Sakura Haruno was glaring at her, still under the shock of being outclassed by the dead last of the class. Her fighting prowess, Sai-sensei called it taijutsu, had improved dramatically over the last 5 days, and 2 days before graduating, she was now able to beat all the girls in the class. Of course, Sai already told her that the clan heirs weren't allowed to practice their family style at school, but her utter pawning of the civilians' children was clear proof of the effectiveness of the teenagers' teachings. This finishes today's spars, Irika announced. Everyone can return home. As Naruko was about to leave, the teacher put one hand on her shoulder. I want to have a word with you, Naruko frowned. What's the matter, Irika-sensei? Another punishment? But she had won all the fights. It was unjust. Have I done something wrong? No, he replied. But I want to know who taught you that style. She bit her lower lip. Why? And how do you know? I am just a bit curious, the teacher stated. This style is a bit different from the standardized one, so I thought someone trained you in using it. And you confirmed my suspicions. Naruko looked at him strangely. What does it matter? He is a nice guy. Sai-sensei was one of the greatest people she had ever met. He was friendly like Ayam-chan and Tsuchijiji, kind like the Hokage-jiji, and willing to train her. She would repay him well when she became Hokage. I only want to know who he is. This style is a bastardized, if efficient, version of the Academy one. I have never seen it before, Naruko smirked. I doubt you know him. Sai-sensei is a genin. Who? He asked her, her eyes widened. You don't know him? No. Can you describe him? He has blonde hair, blue eyes, always looks like a hobo. Irika shook his head pensively. I remember all my students, and I don't recall who you are talking about. She bit her lower lip. Perhaps he was in another class? Possible, Irika said. I will do some research. Yeah. But now, if you excuse me, I have to go. The teacher nodded, smiling. Yeah, I'm sure that you're occupied. Well, tell this Sai that his defensive stances are useless when the enemy targets the legs, and that he should protect his head a bit more. His style is ineffective against a fast opponent, and... Noticing Naruko's dropped jaw, Irika grinned. What? It's my duty to help my students, especially when they can improve. Naruto was meditating under a tree. He was near the place where he had fought Mizuki in his homeworld. The exercise was meant to increase his chakra control, but he didn't make much progress. In fact, he was more preoccupied with the loss of his summons. His clones didn't find any relevant data, and he was angry, but his experimentations with the Rasengan had worked, and he could now use it without his clones. He also mastered another technique he could teach to Naruko after her graduation. Now, he only had to try the exercises his clones gathered on elemental manipul. "Hey! Boss, where are you?" Covering his ears, Naruto repressed the urge to yell back at the newcomer. "I'm here, Naruko," he said calmly. As soon as she stepped into the clearing, his student immediately hugged him. "Sai-sensei, I beat all the girls in my class." He narrowed his eyes. "Really? One by one, one after the other. I am truly the best kunoichi of all time. She really is a younger me. I'm very happy to see you succeed. It's the best thing a teacher could wish for. But next time, don't yell at me. It makes everyone in the vicinity aware of your presence." "Why is that a bad thing?" she questioned him as they ended their brotherly embrace. "Because some people might have bad intentions. If the enemy notices you too soon, you're going to be in big trouble." He learned this lesson the hard way at the bridge. If Kabuto hadn't seen them and attacked Sakura before she could reach and help Yamato, then the fight could have taken a very different turn. "Yeah," says the orange eyesore, Naruko deadpanned. "When you have the henge, it's not important. And the enemy tends to underestimate ninjas in bright colors. I am talking about your attitude." "What is wrong with my attitude?" she asked wearily. "You act as if you want everyone to notice you," which she was trying to do, obviously. "You shout all the time, you make your presence known each time you enter a building, you tell everyone you want to be Hokage. I am going to be Hokage." She yelled at him again. Apparently, he had hit a nerve. He narrowed his eyes at her. "And why do you want to be Hokage? Everyone will then be forced to respect me." He stayed silent a moment, before using the armor-piercing question. "Are they truly worth the effort?" Naruko looked at him with a blank expression. Naruto knew he was in some way cruel, but he felt this talk was necessary. It had taken his retrieval mission with Sasuke for him to fully realize he needed to mature. His inability to understand Sasuke and to do what was necessary only brought him problems. His needless rivalry with him, coupled with his less than reasonable handling of his teammate, were the real causes of the Uchiha's desertion. Pursuing the title of Hokage for nothing more than respect was simply illusory. The villagers would respect Naruko only if she acted like a martyr for a decade, and if Orochimaru's rant was the blunt truth, then Naruko didn't need to earn anything. They were indebted to her, and had, and would have, to repay the years of suffering they had inflicted on the other vessel in some way or another. If Naruko truly wanted to follow the path of Hokage, then she had to do it for the right purposes, not because the Sandaime told her to or for perhaps empty words of praise. She needed a good justification. He had returned to Konoha for the same reason he had stood against Orochimaru, to protect the few people he truly loved. And even now, when he saw Naruko treated as badly as he was, by the same people despite the differences between this world and his own, he was still doubtful he had made the right decision. "Are you going to work all your life to earn the respect of the people treating you like the scum of the earth? Are you going to forgive the people shunning you for nothing? Hokage won't bring you their acknowledgement. It is their acknowledgement that will bring you the title of Hokage, not the other way around. If you want to be Hokage, you will have to become this town's most respected champion." He stared in the direction of the memorial. "If you want to be a hero, then your path will be one of pain and sacrifice. It is only then that your name will be written on this monument, far away from there. Then they will write my name on it," she announced. "Only after you died," he stated, and shock spread over Naruko's face. "It's a memorial, where the names of all the heroes that died for this place are celebrated. If you want acknowledgement, then you will gain it there." He locked eyes with her. "Now I want you to answer this question with sincerity. Why do you want to be Hokage?" For at least 5 minutes, the clearing stayed silent. Finally, the little girl murmured something. "To protect my dearest people," Naruto smiled. "You will." "I promise I will help you to," Naruko smiled back. "Yeah, but now back to business. What is wrong with yelling at the enemy?" The vessel sighed. "Some things never changed. Aren't they cute?" Yugago asked. "Dog-senpai?" Kakashi was as silent as a rock. He had observed Sai, if that was his real name, and the ANBU was convinced it wasn't, and found him disturbing. The sheer number of clones he could make had pretty much confirmed his status as a bijou without a tail, but how could he even know the Kage Bunshin? Perhaps Orochimaru had taught it to him, and in this case this genin was surely a high-ranking soldier in the Snake's organization. But he seriously doubted that the Sannin would give the Kusanagi to anyone, even an elite agent. If this was really Orochimaru in disguise, then why was he acting so openly? The snake knew better than to show his sword in public, or even expose himself at all. Heck, the Orochimaru he knew would never be able to act like a big brother to anyone. Finally, another point truly disturbed the ANBU. This boy knew the Rasengan. Only he, the Sandaime, and Jiraiya knew how to use this jutsu. Recreating it was next to impossible without advanced knowledge of the tailed beasts and chakra manipulation. Without Kushina, Minato would never have created this technique at all. Who was this guy? Kakashi, another ANBU asked. Why are you acting like that? Is it a cat? Kakashi looked sideways at the 4 agents, tasked with the duo's surveillance. No. I need to go for a walk, he deadpanned, as he stepped in the clearing, much to his partner's annoyance. After a quick search, Kakashi found what he was looking for, some of the boy's hair. Yugogo, would you kindly take this to the hospital? I want to test something. The day before graduation, Naruko channeled her chakra and made a hand seal. 3 perfect copies of herself appeared in the clearing, all grinning. 1 minute later, a shout resonated in all of Konoha. I did it! I fucking mastered the Bunshin. My felicitations, my student, he complimented her while clapping his hands. True, she could have announced her success without the excess language, but he was willing to let it slide this time. Her joy was simply too pure to be tarnished now. I did it, boss! She screamed as she hugged him. Resting his palms on her shoulders, he smiled. The moment lasted for a moment, before they separated. Naruko's face was as red as a tomato. Thank you, Sai-sensei. For everything. His smile didn't waver. It's nothing. No, she said. No, it's not. I wouldn't have been able to do the jutsu without your help, sensei. You have helped me train when almost nobody even wanted to talk to me, and I couldn't have progressed this much without you. She bowed slightly. Thank you, boss. Naruto, touched, returned the gesture. You know, Naruko, I remember something. I promised to teach you a jutsu if you ever mastered the Bunshin. She stood up, gazing at him like a hawk. What kind of jutsu? He smirked, before disappearing in a cloud of smoke and silently reappearing behind Naruko. He put a kunai near her neck. Give me your money! He yelled, much to her horror, before laughing and stashing the weapon. Naruko stayed immobile, before awing. Badass, the Shunshin. Quick, efficient, silent. He didn't want to teach her the Kage Bunshin, because having Naruko explain to her future Jounin instructor how she got her hands on a forbidden jutsu would be troublesome for them both, and the Rasengan was simply too well known for being taught to a child. He didn't know how the Sandaime, Kakashi or Jiraiya would react. Maybe later. He had learned the basics of the Shunshin from books, and the clones had helped him master it very quickly. They had also discovered some ingenious uses of the tree-walking technique, but didn't find any relevant jutsu in the library. All the knowledge about techniques was jealously kept secret by the clans, the village, and the ninjas themselves. The only public jutsu were the basic ones, unfortunately. It took Naruko only 5 hours to master the technique. Her higher chakra control was certainly the cause of this result. You know what, Naruko, he told her. Since your graduation is tomorrow, why not do something special for the occasion? What? He grinned, and explained to her his plan. She immediately agreed, a smirk on her face. Yeah, some things never changed. The day of the graduation came. Naruko was ready to pass, and Sai-sensei, after much deliberation, had finally decided to change his wardrobe for something more presentable than half-torn clothes. He was now wearing a black shirt, purple pants, and an orange cloak fully concealing his awesome sword. Naruko wondered why he was doing that, but Sai assured her it was simply to not make people uneasy. The Hokage monument, watching over the town, now had a new face, courtesy of the boss. Naruko's grinning head was staring at the town, much to its citizens' displeasure. How the genin even succeeded in doing something like this in one night was a mystery for Naruko, but he promised to teach her how after her graduation. She was confident, of course. While she was an utter failure at academics, her accuracy was now average, her taijutsu very good, and she could finally do the Bunshin. Her success was assured, but during the course of the exams, she noticed something strange with her teachers. While Irika seemed happy to see her succeed, Mizuki's eyes were filled with a barely restrained rage. So much that he looked downright murderous when she made the 3 needed Bunshin. In the end, she proudly showed her prized genin headband to the crowd of parents assembled before the school, much to their anger and Sai-sensei's joy. I am a genin now, boss. I know, Naruko. I never doubted it. He smirked mischievously. Let's go to Ichiraka's. My treat. Cool. she shouted. I knew you would understand my needs. Kakashi's eyes widened as he read the medical report. He gazed at the doctors in front of him. Are you sure it isn't an error? We thought the same thing the first time, Kakashi-san, so we reran the test 3 more times. We don't know how it's possible, but, Kakashi reread the report. He would have to talk to this Sai tonight. 10 bowls, Tachijiji. Naruko yelled. I'm going to eat until I pass out. The same thing for me, mister, Naruto ordered calmly. Of course. He brought forth the bowls. Apparently, he had already prepared them for tonight. Tachijiji? Naruko's eyes shimmered with joy. Are they what I think they are? Yes, he confirmed. This is the deluxe miso ramen, created by the ramen deities themselves to satisfy our earthly appetites with a heavenly savor. Prepared by myself to celebrate this special day, yes. Thank you, Tachijiji. The girl immediately started to devour the food at a blinding speed. Naruto smiled at the spectacle. Ayam and Tuchi also looked amused. So you're finally a ninja? Ayam asked. The younger vessel nodded vigorously. Tang to Sai's Zenzai, Naruko, don't talk with your mouth full. That's impolite. Buzz at the truff, Zai Sensei. She swallowed. You're the best teacher ever. She claimed. You're that good? Ayam questioned. Naruto reddened a bit. Well, I'm okay. Perhaps you could train with me one day? She asked jokingly. You would make a good cook, maybe. Never tried. Naruko looked up at him. I'm sure you would be the best. She smiled. Then you could prepare me some new dishes, he laughed. Let me guess, he locked eyes with her. Ramen? You read my mind, she said mirthfully. I knew we were made for each other. The discussion continued, and between Ayam's attempts at inviting him on a date, Tuchi's jokes and Naruko's fascination with the deluxe miso ramen, Naruto enjoyed the moment. He wanted it to last forever. Hello everyone, Iruka said, as he entered the ramen stand. How are you doing? He asked Naruko. She smiled and touched her headband. Very well, Iruka-sensei. I am very happy for you, he said kindly, before seeing the other vessel. He tried to hide it, but Naruto noticed the tension in his muscles. And you must be the famous Sai, I presume? The demon container nodded. Happy to meet you, mister. He shook hands with the man. As a fellow teacher, I have to congratulate you on helping Naruko to pass. You also have a part in this success. No, he said flatly. It's only when you took her under your wing that she had begun to improve. I should have realized sooner that she needed an individual's help. I take this as a personal failure. Don't worry, Iruka-sensei, she said. I did pass, after all. Yes, but if you hadn't met your friend, you wouldn't have, he stated. I wouldn't have realized you needed more training in time, and you would have failed. Badly? It's all right, she assured. I forgive you, he smiled. I don't know what to say. Then say nothing, Naruko smirked, much to Naruto's amusement. But then Iruka posed a fatal question. Well, Sai-san, he said, when did you attend the academy? I haven't found anything on you within the archives. At least now he knew the reason behind the man's hidden intention. He had doubts about the teenager's identity. Naruto didn't answer. In fact, the silence was so awkward that he almost felt relieved when he noticed a figure standing on the top of the building behind them, unsealing a scroll and unleashing a wall of kunai upon the ramen stand. On the ground! He shouted as he took Naruko in his arms and sheltered her behind the bar, Iruka imitating them. Tuchi and Ayam had good reflexes, and dropped to the floor. The weapons demolished the restaurant's facade. Impressive, a voice snarled. You're a fast bastard. Mizuki? Iruka shouted, horrified, as he recognized the voice. What are you doing? My duty, Iruka, he responded. I am killing the demon for the good of the village. That's insane. Of course, he is, Naruto snorted as he took the kusanagi in his right hand, observing the man from an opening in the bar. You expect us to die so easily? Get your head out of the clouds. Do you really think you can defeat 3 ninja alone? No, of course not. You're like vermin, awful but tough, Naruto saw him smirk. That's why I have brought backup. The vessel's eyes blinked when he saw a dozen ninjas getting out of the shadows of the empty street. The 2 guards of Konoha's gate, a disfigured man, one of the Chunin exam's proctors, 3 ANBU and 3 other ninjas he only saw once or twice. They were all heavily armored and prepared to kill them. We have all agreed that having the demon brat as an official genin is a true danger to Konoha's safety, the man announced. And you, Sai, if this really is your name. I am afraid your life ends here, fake ninja. Naruto frowned as he saw his 4 protégés stiffen beside him. Well, I kind of lied when I said I was a genin of Konoha, he explained. You never were. Mizuki shouted. No genin named Sai has ever studied in the academy. Who are you really? A spy? A pathological liar? Something else? None of those, the vessel replied, much to Naruko's amazement. I'm just a lone wanderer lost on the road of life. Quoting Kakashi won't help you. One of the ANBU claimed. You're a danger to this place, and a demon lover. We can't allow the Kyuubi to receive any training. Naruto's eyes narrowed, and Iruka glared at the attackers. Naruko stared at them questioningly. What are they talking about? They are trying to unsettle us, Naruto said. Mizuki had used the same tactic back in his homeworld, and he would not fall for it again. Stay hidden and flee with Im and Tuchi as soon as possible. Alert the Hokage. Iruka looked sideways at him. Sai-san, we can't defeat them all. Some of them are Jounin, they are better equipped, and they outnumber us 6-1. We will simply delay them, he stated. I have a few aces up my sleeve. If only he could still summon the toads, Naruto sighed. Okay, in case I do not survive this, then let me tell you this, Naruko, my real name is Naruto Uzumaki. I am a male version of yourself coming from an alternate universe, and your teacher will probably be a pervert. What? No time to explain. He channeled chakra inside the Kusanagi. Immediately, the sword grew, cut through the bar, and impaled one of the ANBU at a blinding speed. Before the shocked band of traitors could react, Naruto escaped the booth and made the hand seal sequence for the Kage Bunshin. Immediately, 100 of his clones filled the street. Everyone looked at them in shock. All the clones smiled. Let's give these losers a lesson. A second later, the situation degenerated into a chaotic melee. Iruka could only watch mesmerized as he saw the clones of the blonde ganging up on Reidu and giving him a brutal beatdown. The teacher, thanks to his detection sonar, quickly realized that they weren't normal clones, but solid constructs of chakra. He couldn't find the real one amongst them. Unfortunately, one blow was enough to dissipate them, and the teenagers' fighting style was still flawed. Some of their enemies successfully cut their way through them, trying to reach the escaping Naruko. A kunai in hand, Iruka silently attacked one of the Chunin from behind, gutting him. Another tried to kill him, but he successfully avoided his fists. Iruka then kicked the man in the balls. He fell on the ground with tears in his eyes, and later died with a shuriken in the head. If it's worth fighting for, Iruka thought, it's worth fighting dirty for. Naruto gritted his teeth as he blasted away an ANBU with a well-placed Rasengan. The other was already on him, trying to cut him in half with a sword, and the clones' numbers were dwindling. Yeah, half of the attackers had been defeated, but without the Kyuubi's chakra, Naruto couldn't make too many copies. He was already feeling tired, and his opponents weren't pushovers. Heck, the disfigured guy had risen and started fighting again, even after his clones had beaten the shit out of him. Need help? The vessel blinked as he saw a Chidori cutting through the ANBU's body. I am disappointed by your actions, Kakashi said, his Sharingan glaring at his victim. Betraying your charge, you only deserve death, he said as he withdrew his arm from the corpse. He locked eyes with Naruto. Are you alright? The vessel nodded, still somewhat shocked. Thanks, it's nothing, the Jounin said. It's my duty to protect my teacher's heirs. Naruto frowned, remembering Orochimaru's words. Care to explain? I know you're related to Naruko, he announced as they ran at the proctor and the last Chunin standing. Your father, Minato Namikaze, was the best of us all. We all regret his death. Why didn't you help Naruko then? He yelled as he created a Rasengan and charged at the Chunin. Politics, he answered with a hint of anger. Konoha's authorities don't want the Kyuubi's container to be too strong, so they have forbidden all families from adopting her, out of fear that she could learn anything. I fear her Jounin teacher will also be banned from teaching her more than the basics. Naruto felt the anger he unleashed on Orochimaru returning. The Sandaime can't ignore the will of the clans, of the Council of Konoha, of its people, the Jounin interrupted, while killing the proctor with a Chidori in the heart. Konoha isn't a dictatorship, unlike the other villages. Naruto narrowed his eyes. He would have a word with the old man as soon as possible. Damn, Iruka-sensei is a badass. Naruko thought as she saw him defeat 2 ninjas handily. And Naruto-sensei really is powerful. But what was he talking about? A quick shunshin saved her from a kunai stab. Mizuki looked downright murderous when his blade cut through a ramen bowl. Naruko looked sideways at Im and Tuchi. Run! She ordered. They immediately left without saying a word. Why are you attacking us? She asked him. Why? He repeated. That's simple. You're nothing more than a monster, a demon, the Kyuubi reborn. Haven't you guessed why all of Konoha hates you? Just remember your date of birth. what she thought as she realized what the man was talking about. Terror spread over her face. You can't mean. She only saw a wide and sadistic grin on his face. Yes, Naruko, the Yondaime didn't kill the Kyuubi, he simply sealed her into a human. You're the demon fox that killed thousands of people. I. She couldn't believe it. She couldn't move, even as she saw Mizuki's kunai thrown at her gut. That's wrong. Naruto's voice brought her back to reality. He was standing in front of her, the weapon caught in his left hand. Naruko is not the Kyuubi. She is his warden. A hero, who doesn't deserve your hatred. She is a human, a girl worth respecting. And I won't allow you to hurt her, boss. She didn't know how to answer. You can't protect her alone, Mizuki yelled, as the two gatekeepers came to his aid alongside the bleeding but still standing disfigured ninja. No. But he is not alone, a female ANBU stated, as she appeared beside the duo alongside Irika and a silver-haired man. For having broken the Sandaime's law of silence, the woman continued, your punishment will be death. Give up, Mizuki, Naruto told the crazed instructor. Your plan has failed. Oh, the first yes, he said, as made a hand seal sequence. But not the backup one. The guards attacked the ANBU duo, and the bleeding guy engaged Irika in a taijutsu battle. A symbol appeared on the ground, enclosing him, Naruko, and Naruto. The girl found herself unable to move. What is this? She asked. A trap, the instructor said, as he tore his shirt apart, revealing 100 explosive tags on his torso. And you are caught within it. Naruko's eyes widened as she saw the teacher explode. In a strange place, 9 spheres began to light up. A web of mirrors moved, and they trembled. Finally, a red light illuminated them, and the picture of a clearing appeared on them. A second later, Naruko and Naruto had simply vanished from the surface of this earth, and a massive blast destroyed the whole street, killing and hurting everyone in the vicinity. A flash of light illuminated a clearing. Sasori found himself looking emotionlessly at 2 blondes lying on the ground, right in front of him. Okay, he said. What happened? In her bed, Yuzuki stiffened. Someone was there. She had been hospitalized after tonight's events, covered with burns and mentally broken when she had noticed the distinct chakra signature of a genjutsu. A potent one. First her crushing failure at protecting Naruko, and now an assassin? Did she have the same bad luck as Tsunadeheim? So you are aware of my presence. It won't help you, however. Yugo locked eyes with a Sharingan. A second later, she wasn't at the hospital anymore. She was crucified, bleeding under a red moon. The man in front of her was hiding his face behind a spiraled mask, revealing only one hateful eye. He was wearing a strange black cloak with scarlet clouds on it. Who are you? An Uchiha? She asked. Where am I? The who is not important, he said. The where, however. He chuckled. You are inside of the Tsukiyomi, a world under my total and absolute control. An illusion? Yes, he answered. But your pain will be real. Yugo glared at him. What do you want? The man laughed. What do I want? Answers to all my questions. It's important. And the first is... He approached her, until he was only a few centimeters away from her. Who was that blonde girl that you were always following around? And what happened tonight? Where has she vanished? Yugo's eyes narrowed. I will never tell you. You will. A spear appeared from nowhere in the man's hands. I can promise you, he said as he stabbed her belly with his weapon. It took her 3 whole days to crack. Leaving the hospital and the dead body of the ANBU behind him, Madara Uchiha teleported in the center of an empty street, which had recently been demolished by a huge explosion. The hole in space had left the very fabric of reality weakened here, and the immortal was confident in his ability to open it again. The situation was incredible. More than one reality existed in this universe. Even better, the Uzumaki team could travel between them. He didn't know how it was even possible, but this power was truly interesting. Madara was thinking on a whole new level. His master plan now seemed insignificant, and the existence of copies of Konoha was disturbing. He needed to recruit Naruto. With him, he would be able to do whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted, wherever he wanted. He would be almighty. The boy had been, like him, betrayed by Konoha and the Senju. It would be easy to coerce him into joining his crusade against the wretched place. If he couldn't be convinced, well, force works too, he thought as he vanished from this world. Chapter 3 Me, Myself and I. In a little town located in a country so remote it wasn't even shown on maps, a 12-year-old boy was glaring at a merchant. What do you mean by there is no oil left to sell? The man shrugged. All our stocks have plummeted after the beginning of Rain's civil war. Trade routes aren't safe anymore, so we don't have supplies. We are already rationing the food, and now the oil. Sorry, but we have to satisfy our needs first. For at least the 1,000th time, Naruto Uzumaki massaged his temples in frustration. It was the third shop of the day, and the response identical to the previous: no oil left. And without it, Jiraiya couldn't use its flamethrower, its main weapon. Of course, he still had Orochimaru and Tsunade, but they didn't have Jiraiya's firepower. The first was only useful in close combat, and Tsunade was a fortress-type puppet, without any effective long-range weaponry. Leaving the establishment, the boy mentally ran a checklist of the remaining possible solutions to his problem. He could try to create his own oil, but it would be a long and difficult process. He could also try to steal it from a local civilian, but that would instantly result in an investigation, the last thing he would want. Sasori and him needed to stay incognito for their job, so the less he attracted attention, the better he would be. Finally, he could try to buy it in the nearest great nation, but since Sasori intended to stay low for a while, Naruto accepted the inevitable. He couldn't use his flamethrower for a long time. Leaving the town, Naruto ran towards Sasori's home. The man had acquired a house in the countryside, where he could practice his art without being either bothered or observed by anyone outside of his inner circle. The only people who visited them occasionally were either Sasori's agents or robbers. The first usually ended up leaving after a short stay, while the second generally finished their lives screaming as they were added to Sasori's collection or Kabuto's guinea pigs. Of course, since most of them were rapists and or murderers, Naruto didn't feel sorry for them at all. In fact, he would probably experiment on them himself once Sasori taught him how to make his own human puppets. However, the blonde wasn't bothered by them in particular. He could kill hundreds of them without much trouble, but their increasing number was disturbing. Times of trouble were leading people on dark paths, who in turn perpetuated the problems. It was a vicious circle, one that had appeared again after Hanzo's fall and the end of the hidden rain. No matter how well they tried to hide it, the Kyuubi's deep voice resonated in his mind: humans are still animals. They like to kill, to hunt, and to expand their territory. Their reasons always boiled down to one: primal instinct. Then why do we have doctors? Why does charity exist? Why did we invent commerce and peace? Your kind invented doctors so they could fight much longer. Charity exists as the carrot of the carrot and stick duo. Commerce establishes a hierarchy between the rich and the poor, between the producer and the consumer. Peace does not exist. Its real name is truce, a time where humans can't continue their eternal war for some reason and need time before being able to kill again. Face it, if you want a vision of humanity's future, then imagine a man killing another. Forever. Naruto shuddered. The Kyuubi's view of the world wasn't cynical, it was downright depressing. It's the world that is depressing, not I. Your kind is the cancer of this planet, and its cure. The vessel felt almost relieved when he caught sight of Sasori's black house. The place seemed normal, but Naruto was fully aware of the many seals hidden under the ground. Sasori immediately knew when someone entered his property, and he could activate the defenses anytime he wanted. Fortunately, the boy wasn't in the missing means blacklist, and never had been. Opening the wooden door, Naruto mentally prepared himself for another creepy training session with Kabuto. The medic was a good friend to hang out with, but his fascination with corpses was disturbing, to say the least. Even more when Naruto was helping him. He acted like a child happy at sharing his toys with a comrade, which he was, by the way. But the time he entered the lounge, he only saw Sasori, sitting on an armchair. The man, looking like a normal, red-headed teenager, was wearing a green shirt and blue pants, an outfit revealing his real nature to all, a living puppet, the ultimate result of the puppeteer's quest for immortality. I was waiting for you, his mentor said calmly, his artificial visage expressionless. Naruto narrowed his eyes. Sasori always kept an ordered schedule, and never diverged from it. When it was time for his student to train with Kabuto, he was starting another activity. He never waited for someone, unless something unforeseen had happened. The vessel sat in another chair, locking eyes with his teacher in the process. For what, may I ask? Sasori smiled. Naruto shuddered. Sasori never smiled, except when he was pulling a prank or celebrating a success. Naruto had the feeling he would soon find himself on the bad end of a twisted joke. We will talk about that later, but I can already tell you this, you will be very surprised. Okay, now the vessel was outright scared. Sasori didn't seem to notice. Did you find what you were looking for? No, he answered. They don't have any stock left for strangers. The man nodded. As expected. One of my agents in AIM has informed me that Konoha has recently decided to support the rebels. IWA has immediately responded by offering its help to the loyalists. Naruto frowned. They are going to start another shinobi war. It wasn't a question. Merely a fact. Yes, told you peace was simply a synonym for truce. That's insane, Naruto said. Sasori smirked. Once again, Naruto, you mistake war for a mistake, while it is a goal. The stone and the leaf have prepared for this day since the Kyuubi's attack. Out of this war, a superpower will be born. It's a gamble. They win, or they die. No middle ground. He sighed. But war is always good for spy masters like myself. Information is the base of warfare. Naruto narrowed his eyes. Sometimes, I regret having followed you. The man stared emotionlessly at his student. Why? He asked, with a hint of surprise in his voice. Oh, you know, the whole immorality of your job, the deceptions, the murders. The ninja world is built on lies and horrors, Sasori stated. Since the beginning of time, man has always sought to justify his actions, even if he had to lie to himself. Morals, good and evil, are simply a question of perspective. They only serve to delude people into thinking that their struggles serve a greater purpose than self-interest. Most humans are cowards and hypocrites, unable to admit the real reason behind their actions, power. Damn, why are all of my friends cynical or pessimistic? Because we are older than you are, the Kyuubi chuckled. You are a fool, unable to see reality. You prefer illusions since they give you a vague sense of feudal importance. Kyuubi, yes, monkey, shut up. I don't want to hear you anymore. The demon stayed silent for a few seconds. Idiot. But anyway, Sasori interrupted Naruto's mental conversation. I have found something fascinating in the forest nearby, when I was gathering wood to create a new puppet. What? Naruto asked as he locked eyes with his mentor. Two blondes, the man answered, a teenager and a girl of your age. They are probably brother and sister. Naruto raised his eyebrows. And their reserves of chakra are huge, to say the least. In fact, one has more chakra than you. More than any Jinchuriki I have ever seen. Really? Naruto demanded, surprised. He had never seen someone with more chakra than him. He had the Kyuubi's power flowing in his veins, so he doubted that anyone could have more chakra than the vessel of the strongest of all Bijou. Sasori nodded. They appeared in a flash of light, and they were, and still are, comatose. I transported them here, and ordered Kabuto to examine them. The results, and especially the diagnostic of the blood tests, were unexpected. A creepy smile formed on his face. They are related to you, Naruto. The boy felt like he had been punched in the jaw. He had a family? If this is some kind of joke, I don't find it amusing. He still remembered the Sandame's words. You have no one. My parents are dead, the Uzumaki clan too. I don't have anyone else. Sasori's creepy smile returned, chilling the vessel to the bone. Oh, they are a lot more than mere parents. He rose. Come with me to the laboratory, my student. You will see what I mean. Naruto obeyed, and followed Sasori downstairs. Kabuto's laboratory was rather luminous for an underground complex, though the phosphorescent seals were certainly helping. It was a large basement composed of white rooms, where the scientist could practice some vivisections without bothering his roommates. Entering the doctor's lair, Naruto felt the activation of the disinfectant seals, currently purifying his body. After a short walk, Naruto sensed the strange and unusual unease of the Kyuubi filling his mind. What's wrong? He asked the demon. I don't understand. I have noticed the presence of a Bijou nearby. A strong one, so one of these mysterious strangers is a Jinchuriki, apparently. But that's strange, its chakra, looks like mine. Naruto stopped walking, much to Sasori's incomprehension. Care to explain? I can't, vermin. I feel like someone watching his reflection in a mirror. A living mirror. Sasori, the Kyuubi is disturbed. He says that one of your guests is a Jinchuriki. The man nodded. She is. She? The Jinchuriki is the girl? Yes. What is her bijou? The Nanabai? The Nibi? The Kyuubi says its chakra looks like his own. Sasori simply smiled, blatantly ignoring his disciple's questions. He began to walk again, and Naruto followed him. Bastard. The duo reached a small room, with 4 beds. Kabuto, wearing a cyan blouse, was watching over a sleeping teenager, probably 16 years old. A comatose girl, looking like a female version of himself in an ugly orange outfit, was lying on another bed. So she is the Jinchuriki. What is it? That girl's bijou is as strong as I. Its chakra is the same as my own. The Kyuubi is astonished. Even in his own mouth, it sounded strange. The bijou inside of her is as strong as him. Sasori nodded. Normal, since it's another Kyuubi. What? What? What does that mean? I demand an explanation. Now, Kabuto gave the boy a sheet of paper. This is the result of the blood tests. Naruto read them, and his eyes widened. From the depths of his mind, he could sense the Kyuubi's amazement. Dropping the report, Naruto immediately approached the girl, before raising her shirt. On her belly, the same seal as his own. The shock was so great that he momentarily forgot the fact that he was acting like a pervert. What's the meaning of this? He demanded after covering the girl's belly with her shirt again, reddening slightly when he remembered that she was related to him. Kabuto chuckled. Well, it seems you have an older brother and a younger, female twin. Congratulations. Naruto's jaw dropped. What? The fuck? Oh, one of them is awakening, Sasori stated, as the teenager began to open his eyes. Man, that was a strange dream, Naruto thought as he became conscious again. Mizuki successfully killing me and Naruko. Absurd. He eyed his surroundings, and noticed Kabuto at his side. For a few seconds later, Naruto found himself unable to move more than his eyelids. Then, he punched the traitor in the face, and missed, since the medic barely avoided the blow. Getting up, Naruto tried to take the Kusanagi, but quickly realized that the sword wasn't attached to his belt anymore. The traitor had probably stolen it while he was sleeping, but as he opted for a Rasengan, Naruto fell on the floor, suddenly unable to move his limbs. Looking sideways, he saw a redhead with one hand steaming. Sorry to use this seal on you, little boy, but this is for your own good, the teenager said with a cold, emotionless voice. You should better listen, a blonde boy near him advised him. Sasori can be quite nasty when he wants to. Sasori? Naruto's eyes widened. Sasori is dead. Sakura had killed him, along with Chio. The redhead smiled. For the first time, Naruto noticed the mechanical aspect of his arms. Kabuto grabbed him by his shirt, and forced him to face the redhead. In a sense, I died a long time ago. But my heart is still beating, the puppeteer stated. He isn't the original Sasori, the vessel suddenly realized. He is an alternate version of him. So this wasn't a dream? Mizuki did explode? Perhaps the seal activated. Naruto looked at the blonde boy. He recognized him. He was a younger Naruto, wearing a green shirt and black pants, eyeing him with a pale face. I see, so I am in another, alternate universe. Alone? He wondered, before noticing Naruko on the bed. No, not alone. He locked eyes with Sasori. What have you done to her? She was already comatose when I had found her, and you, the redhead answered. And nothing will happen to her, as long as you calm yourself and answer my questions. I mean you no harm, but I won't hesitate to kill her if you attack again. Naruto frowned. Since he was powerless and that Naruko's life depended on him, the vessel decided to acquiesce to the man's will. Sasori is dead. Or at least, my world Sasori is dead. The man smiled, the other Naruto stared at him with a blank expression, and Kabuto smirked. Let's talk like gentlemen. Do you like tea? The puppeteer put his hands together. So, if I understand, you are a Naruto Uzumaki coming from another universe, and she, he glanced at Naruko, is a female version of you from a world different than yours and mine? Naruto nodded. The paralysis had apparently ended, but he knew better than attacking. He was in Sasori's lair, against an S-rank missing Nin and two of his helpers, alone, and without the Kusanagi. He was hopelessly outmatched, and if Sasori's pleasant attitude was any indication, so much that his host didn't even consider him a threat. The vessel briefly looked at Naruko, then at his younger counterpart, before drinking his tea. While he knew that Sasori was a specialist in poisons, and that he didn't have the Kyuubi's chakra to heal him, Naruto was aware that Sasori could have already killed him if he wanted to, and that it was simply a manifestation of the man's power over him. It was also, maybe, a polite gesture. You don't seem surprised, Sasori-san. Naruto attributed the missing Nin's lack of reaction to his artificial body, but with that kind of person you could never know. Decades of shady activities must have reinforced his nerves and control over his emotions. In my long life, Naruto-san, I have seen many strange things, and Kabuto's blood tests have already confirmed your genetic similarities with my student. He locked eyes with his guest. If your previous attempt on my doctor's life is of any indication, I assume that your relations with your Kabuto were less than cordial. Naruto nodded. He worked as a spy for you, but had in fact betrayed you for Orochimaru. The Sannin? Yes. You had worked with him for a time, as two agents of Akatsuki. Akatsuki? Sasori's face stayed emotionless, but his voice was laced with surprise. The revolutionary group from Amigakure? Naruto shook his head. The criminal syndicate intending to gather all the bijou to take over the ninja world. The most dangerous team of S-rank missing needs to have walked the earth. Sasori narrowed his eyes. Here, Akatsuki is an organization dedicated to end Hanzo's dictatorship over Amigakure. It was a pacifist movement at first, until one of the founders, Nagato, got assassinated by the salamander. The leader, Yahiko, has started a civil war, which will soon evolve into a world war. Sasori smirked. Strange, how things have evolved differently between our two worlds. What happened to my other myself? A friend of I and your grandmother, Chio, defeated and killed him after you kidnapped the Godame Kazekage alongside your partner, a man named Deidara. Sasori stayed silent a moment. Killed by grandma. I should have guessed. Who could beat me except her, my teacher? It must have been a battle to behold. How can he talk so casually about his own death? Okay, it was simply another himself's death, but still. You used more than 100 puppets, if I remember well. Sasori locked eyes with him, and both his younger counterpart and Kabuto stiffened. Naruto understood that the trio was bothered by his knowledge of the man's arsenal. At least he had an advantage, a battle, ephemeral. Its memory will disappear one day. I hope to end differently. And about the me from this girl's world, never had the chance to meet him. We teleported accidentally during a battle, when an enemy tried a suicide bombing near us. Accidentally? Sasori shook his head. If you were in danger, then this jump was needed for your survival. Perhaps the seal activated to save you and the girl from death, or maybe it is somewhat sentient. Would you kindly allow me to study it? As a seal master, I'm sure you will benefit from my experience. As much as he distrusted the missing Nin, Naruto was also aware that he couldn't refuse, since he wanted to know if the seal could kill him anytime, or what had happened to the Kyuubi. Sasori was a seal master, and didn't seem to want him to die. Okay, good. This is the beginning of a mutually beneficial relationship, my friend. He glanced at Kabuto. Why is the girl still asleep? Naruko, Naruto said. Her name is Naruko Uzumaki. Kabuto, why is Naruko Uzumaki still asleep? She should have already awoken. I don't know, Sasori-sama. He was currently making a diagnostic with his medical chakra. But I have the feeling it has something to do with her Kyuubi. He locked eyes with the missing Nin. Perhaps both Naruto would help better than I. And how do you expect us to help her, Kabuto? The younger Naruto asked. By going inside of her mindscape, possibly. Since you have the same bijou, and your older self has had his for a long time, maybe you are connected in some way, or something like that. The younger Naruto sighed. Hey, my older me, do you know how to enter your mindscape? Naruto smiled, as he closed his eyes. Of course, then let's go. Naruto awoke in an art gallery, though it wasn't really an art gallery. Instead, the place was an amalgam between his new mindscape and a museum composed of strange statues and puppet designs. The web of mirrors was shifting in front of a big, changing portrait of the Kyuubi. Naruto shuddered when the beast glared at him. What do you want, vermin? You're even uglier than my current container. Hey, you're not a model yourself. Briefly, Naruto realized that he was talking to the strongest demon he had ever seen, and the most arrogant of all bijou. But then he decided that the asshole needed to get its head out of its ass. I'm far better than a weak, idiotic blonde that has been defeated by a weak machine. The Yondaime was a blonde, and he crushed you. You can vent your frustration on me as much as you like, but it doesn't change the fact that you're just a caged pet. Damn, decades of insults had given him some experience with the "you suck" speeches. His shouting worked, since the portrait instantly became red, and the fox's face twisted with insane anger. I am no one's pet. No one's, do you hear me? I am the mightiest of all bijou, you moron. If this seal wasn't there, you would be walking the earth, like some random beast. You should be happy to serve a purpose, you ugly battery. When I escape this prison, this battery will kill you, then force the Shinigami to resurrect you, and then kill you again. The Shinigami was the one who sealed you there, you idiot. I will tear you apart. I would like to see you try. Their exchange was interrupted by a laugh. Naruto looked sideways and noticed his younger counterpart grinning from ear to ear. Man, I always believed I was the only one to enjoy teasing the Kyuubi. I will try to remember some of your insults for later. You will respect me, you loser. Ignoring the enraged fox's shouts, Naruto shook his other self's hands. Happy to see you, Naruto. But the pleasure is all mine, Naruto. You're sickening me. Your soulmate is a bit loud. Why not leave him behind? You read my mind. Stop ignoring me. Come back. I order you. The duo ignored the beast shouting, advancing through a corridor. Are you sure we will find Naruko's mindscape at the other end? The older one asked. I don't know, the younger answered, but since it is the first time I have seen this corridor, and that we are here together, I assume that our minds are somehow connected. Nice seal, by the way. Still don't know if it's going to kill me or something, he said. Well, Sasori is here for you. My teacher is creepy, but he's always looking forward to increasing his knowledge on seals or puppets. He stopped walking. I can't believe I'm talking to myself. I know, I had the same impression the first time I met Naruko. The young boy began to walk again. Still strange. Naruto nodded. How did you meet Sasori? He asked. When I was 9, one drunk villager broke the Sandame's law of silence, and explained to me my particularities. I assumed the Sandame wasn't happy. No. The drunkard ended up in a sealed room with Anko and Ibiki. The older Naruto shuddered at the thought. The old man then decided to explain, in detail, what I really was, Konoha's sacrifice. I decided that, since the village hated me for something I wasn't responsible for, Konoha would be happy to see me gone, and that I would be pleased to never see them again. Naruto narrowed his eyes. Another Naruto abused. It was the second alternate universe he was visiting, and Konoha had acted the same way in both. Each time, the Sandame had done nothing. Each time, Kakashi and Jiraiya had never shown up. He remembered his discussion with the second Kakashi. Even if the clans and the civilians had asked the Hokage not to help him, the Sandame was still a respected leader. He could have helped him. Kakashi could have helped him. If Jiraiya really was his godfather, then he should have helped him. He had to talk to a Sandame, to a Jiraiya, to a Kakashi, no matter if they were simply alternate versions of the one he knew. He, and all Naruto across the cosmos, deserved explanations. So you chose to leave Konoha? The older Naruto asked. The younger vessel nodded. One night, I infiltrated a merchant's caravan, and vanished from the village incognito. 2 days later, I was on my own, an orphan without food alone in the land of fire. I fainted on a road the following day. When I awoke, I was next to a fire, and Sasori was reading a book in front of me. He asked me what a Jinchuriki was doing outside of his village. After explaining to him my situation, he offered me a job. After a few months, he decided that he should leave a legacy, in case he died prematurely. Judging me worthy to be his disciple, he proposed to teach me his arts. I accepted immediately. He smiled. And you, what happened in your homeworld? I stayed unaware of who I was until my graduation, when I was 12. Some crazy man broke the law while he was trying to kill me. I became a genin, had many adventures, until one of my teammates chose to betray Konoha for Orochimaru. I tried and failed to stop him. After some attacks by my world's Akatsuki, I went on a mission to find my treacherous teammate, which went horribly wrong. I ended up locked in a fight with Orochimaru, who twisted my seal in the middle of our battle. I killed him, but the dysfunctional seal teleported me into Naruko's universe, then into this one. The younger vessel nodded. And her? What happened in her world? She has the same story as my own, but I met her a week before her graduation, changing the course of her life. The duo arrived at the end of the corridor, and inside a sewer. The older Naruto frowned. That was how my mindscape looked before the seal got twisted. We should catch sight of the Kyuubi's prison very soon, and effectively, they found themselves in front of a huge cage. 2 gigantic red eyes were staring at them. I was waiting for you, mortals, the fox announced. Naruko was asleep under the sewer's troubled water, right in front of the seal. The older vessel frowned. So you're responsible for Naruko's condition? Yes. I wanted to talk to you, and to my counterpart. This Kyuubi seemed more slender than its other self, and its fur was paler. The mindscape changed form. In a few seconds, the Kyuubi's portrait appeared behind the duo, and the web of mirrors at their left side. The 2 Bijou remained unimpressed by the other's presence. So we are in the same situation, the caged Kyuubi stated. Our vessel's gender differs, but our seals are identical, it seems. Is your container an annoying brat too? Unfortunately, yes, the Kyuubi's portrait sighed. Are we all cursed to be sealed in these idiots? Hey! The 2 creatures superbly ignored the younger Naruto's shouting. To be honest, I hope not. Maybe one of us didn't get caught by the Shinigami's hand? Probably. We are the ultimate beings. Many of us must be still free. Both the younger and older Naruto sighed. I didn't know that all Kyuubi had such a big ego, the younger one whined. Why not checking these possibilities? The bijou in the cage eyed the web of mirrors. If this device is the cause of our meeting, then maybe it contains the answers to all our questions. The other Kyuubi nodded. Strangely, I don't sense our brethren's presence in this place. But these spheres, I can see its chakra in them, 9 spheres for 9 tails. But what contains the 10th? Its mind, perhaps. We are chakra. We don't have a mind separated from our being. The seal has been made by the Shinigami, a god. Its powers are unknown, even to us. When the snake twisted the seal, perhaps a leftover of its being has awakened and modified it to avoid the container's death, giving him the ability to cross the barriers between the worlds in the process? Possible. The Kyuubi looked into the older Naruto's eyes. Little man, it seems that you have a godlike ability, the power to go wherever you want. Aren't you happy? I still don't know how this power works, he pointed out. Strange. What did the bijou want, for now? For how long? Once this Sasori examines your seal, you should find a way to use this device in one way or another. And with it, you will be almighty. What will you do with it? Will you try to return to your homeworld? Create your own village? Rule all universes? Naruto frowned. I haven't thought about that, but if I gain this power, then I think I will use it to help my other selves. 3 worlds. 3 Narutos had been abused by Konoha, losing their childhood in the process. 3 hadn't had a family. How many others? The Kyuubi smirked, an act that chilled Naruto to the bone. So you want to give a hand to your less than fortunate counterparts? This quest might last until your death. Naruto smiled. I have always been determined, a quality we have in common. Bizarrely, a polite and calm Kyuubi looked even more frightening to the 2 awakened vessels than a furious one. I want to talk with you, and you alone. Everyone stared at the bijou with a questioning look, and in the second Kyuubi's case, a malicious grin. Immediately, the younger Naruto fell asleep, much to his counterpart's horror. He didn't know the Kyuubi had that power. The beast's grin widened. My chakra is flowing in his brain as much as in his muscles. I can't control him, but I can banish him in his subconscious for a time. He eyed his counterpart. I don't know what you have in mind, but I suppose it doesn't concern me. Goodbye, he said as he vanished from the Mindscape. The caged Kyuubi locked eyes with Naruto. Naruto Uzumaki, are you aware of your parentage? Naruto's eyes widened. My father's name was Minato Namikaze, and my mother was called Kushina Uzumaki. She was my Kyuubi's previous Jinchuriki. He was slightly taken aback by the question. The creature nodded. She was my container in this world too, before someone ripped her seal and mind-controlled me into attacking Konoha. The traveler frowned. Do you expect me to believe your innocence? Believe what you want, it's the truth. The day of Naruko's birth, a man named Madara Uchiha took her hostage and extracted me from Kushina, killing her in the process. The memory of a clone came to Naruto's mind. The fallen lord of the Uchiha? Wasn't he dead? Now he is, since Naruko's father killed him. Minato Namikaze, arguably the greatest shinobi to have ever walked the earth. The creature eyed him emotionlessly. I can tell you more about him, if you want, but this will hurt you deeply. Naruto stayed silent a few seconds. Why are you telling me this? Because I don't want to antagonize you. You're responsible for my container's safety, and as such I owe you a favor. In fact, I think we can collaborate, not to appear impolite, but aren't you a demon wanting to escape this prison? Why should we collaborate? Because I don't want to escape this cage. What? The Kyuubi chuckled at Naruto's surprised expression. I don't want my freedom, because I am intrigued by your ability, and by the existence of different worlds. I find your intention of traveling between universes entertaining and amusing. I can see through my vessel's senses, and I have taken a liking to the tragedy of humans' lives, to your emotions, to your constant struggle to live. It's like a play to me. It smirked. So, bored as I am, I think your travels will amuse me more than rampaging through a random world. That made some twisted sort of sense. That sadistic creature probably wanted to try something new. And why not beginning by telling Naruto awful truths? I see. What do you offer? My support to you and Naruko, when I want to give it. So, it is going to do what it wants when it wants. Well, at least it is more polite than my own Kyuubi ever was. Nothing more? My knowledge. So, it narrowed its eyes at Naruto. Do you want to know more about your parents? Naruto hesitated. The Kyuubi was probably the only being able to answer all his questions, but it wasn't the most trustworthy source of information. He would have to confirm what he heard. I'm all ears. The creature's grin grew. Minato Namikaze, was also known as the Yandame Hokage. Horror spread over Naruto's face. Naruto could barely restrain the need to laugh at the spectacle. "I'm not a pervert." "Yes, you are," the girl said as she punched him in the jaw. "The doctor told me everything. You peeked under my shirt, you molester." She started kicking him while he was down, lying on the grass outside the house. "You're overacting. You're not even attractive. You're flat." His suicidal words only made his punishment worse, because the girl then decided to attack a few sensible places of his anatomy. The young boy screamed loudly. Beside Naruto, Sasori was looking at the spectacle with a neutral expression. "I have analyzed your seal. I have an idea on how it works." Naruto calmed himself. "Can you explain, Sasori-san?" 2 days had passed since his visit in his Mindscape, and he was still conflicted about what he had heard. If the Kyuubi was right, then the one that sealed the bijou inside of him, Naruko, and his counterpart, was their own father. He still didn't know how he would explain that to the 2 children in front of him. The speculations of the 2 Kyuubi are correct, but not totally. The 9 spheres do contain large amounts of chakra, but I don't know what is kept inside of the 10th one, he said. The seal is linked to your subconscious, and probably activates on its own if you're in a very bad situation. In my opinion, you can use it at will if you visualize a place well enough. If you wish, you can probably take companions for the ride. Naruto nodded. Sasori glanced at him. "When do you want to leave?" "Tomorrow." The different universes were slightly similar, so there was a high chance that the people he would meet in the next world were relatively the same as the ones he knew. A meeting with a Sandaime would be an opportunity to verify the knowledge he had gathered. Sasori stayed silent for a moment. "You don't lose any time. It's a quality. But you will have to take me and Kabuto along for the next ride." Naruto locked eyes with him, completely surprised. "Why?" "Because I want to confront my art with my counterpart's work. Exchanging knowledge between puppeteers has always been one of my top priorities. I left my village because they were limiting my potential, and the potential of all puppeteers. Meeting another Sasori, who had decided to take another path in this science than my own, would be a wonderful experience." Naruto nodded. During these days, he had learned something about Sasori. He was completely obsessed with his art. His job as a spy master was simply a means for him to improve his work and gather resources, nothing more. "Why not? Having you along with us will certainly help. I'm sure you know how to infiltrate Konoha without attracting attention." "Yes," he agreed. "I can easily make some forgeries, allowing us to travel incognito." "And what about you, Kabuto?" Naruto asked the medic, who simply smiled. The memory of the impaled traitor from his world returned, but he repressed it. "I have to admit that I am fascinated by the existence of alternate universes, Naruto-san," he answered. "How many are there? How have they come into being? What changes from one to another?" "I intend to find an answer to all these questions." Naruto nodded, before finally deciding to verify the Kyuubi's words. "Sasori-san, may I ask you a question?" Sasori didn't respond, and the vessel took this as a yes. "Do you know the Yandaime's real name?" The puppeteer stared at him in the eyes. "Why do you want this information?" "I want to know if he has descendants. Like you?" He smiled at Naruto's obvious surprise. "Don't be taken aback. I have done my research on my student's parentage as well. And yes, the Yandaime, Minato Namikaze, is his, her and your father." Naruto closed his eyes. It infuriated him to no end, but the source of their shared suffering was their own progenitor. Does he know? No, he only knows some parts of his family's past, but not much. He's not mature enough to accept such reality without falling into depression. I want him to be fully functional before telling him. Naruto repressed the urge to scold the puppeteer for talking of his student as if he was a machine, but stayed silent. It was simply in the man's nature to act like that. Once he decides to forge his own destiny, but not before. Sasori sighed. "Do you intend to tell your disciple?" The wanderer kept his eyes closed. On one hand, it was Naruko's right to know about her parentage. On the other hand, she had only started to enjoy her childhood. She had just learned her first awful truth from Mizuki, and the revelation would probably break her. "No," he decided, hating himself for it. "I want her to heal from her mental scars, to enjoy her new existence. This revelation can wait for a year or two." Sasori didn't answer for a time. "We are more alike than I thought, Uzumaki Naruto." "Really?" "Yes, Naruko, we are leaving for another universe." She bit her lower lip. "And Iruka-sensei? And Sandaime Jiji? And I am Chan and Tochi Jiji? I don't know if we will end up in your reality or another." "Sai Naruto-sensei," she remembered, answered. But we will have to assume that we won't see them again, not the ones you have known. We will probably meet other versions of themselves, but not the people of your world. It's a bit complicated, she stated. Why couldn't things be simpler? We are going to meet them, but at the same time they won't be them? Pretty much, yes. You will understand when you see them. Sure, but I'm still confused, Naruto-sensei. She saw the other Naruto arriving with 3 scrolls on his back. She glared at the pervert. What are you doing here with those scrolls? Peeping on our conversation? He glared back. They are the scrolls containing my puppets, you idiot. You're a bit old to play with puppets, child. I'm as old as you. And they are weapons. Are they puppets or are they weapons? You should decide, you psycho. You're the psycho, crazy girl, lecherous pervert, flat lady. Naruko reddened. Shut up, you green eyesore, says the girl in orange. Attention, whore, green mad, would you kindly shut up? Sasori asked, as he arrived in the clearing. The whole country is listening to you, Kabuto smiled. Why did you stop them, Sasori-sama? It was quite the show, Sasori simply sighed. When the sun was about to disappear behind distant mountains, Naruto looked at his team. Sasori had chosen to wear black pants and a vest of the same color, while Kabuto was dressed like Shino. The 5 were all holding storage scrolls on their back. Damn, if I had known I would have to travel with Sasori and Kabuto. Everyone ready? He asked, instinctively touching the Kusanagi sword attached to his belt. Sasori had given it back, and even gave him some pointers on holding it, even if he wasn't a sword master. He hoped to find one soon. They all nodded. Naruto closed his eyes. I will try to teleport us to the forest near Konoha, he announced. The image of the place appeared in his mind. Channeling his chakra, Naruto sensed the seal burning under his shirt. In his mindscape, he looked at the web of mirrors. In one of them, the image of the forest. Naruto touched it. The 9 spheres illuminated everything. In a flash of light, the 5 of them disappeared. Carefully hidden behind a tree, Madara Uchiha observed his 5 prey as they vanished from the face of this earth. He inwardly cursed. The immortal wasn't proud enough to be blind to the truth. Alone, he couldn't defeat 3 Jinchuriki, a medic and Sasori at the same time. He needed help, badly. If the team continued to expand, he would have to find allies. But he had left all of his pawns behind, in his homeworld, and he couldn't access it without his Naruto's power. But who would be willing, on this earth, to help Madara Uchiha? Wait, there was one person. The immortal ninja teleported to a graveyard, full of the bones of ancient monsters. He sat on a rock and patiently waited for his friend to manifest. He didn't wait for long, since a man in purple robes with the Uchiha crest on them, wielding a fan, and wearing a white mask looking like a Sharingan on his face, along with a blue bandana, teleported right in front of him. From 2 holes, 2 eyes, one red and the other purple, were carefully studying Madara. How is it possible? The man with both the Sharingan and the Rinnegan asked. Madara chuckled. Let me tell you a little story, my other self. Chapter 4, Darker Side. Sakura, where are you going? Haruno Mabuki asked her daughter. Her little girl smiled. I'm going for a walk. You're going to stalk the Uchiha again, aren't you? Sakura's expression made her mother sigh. Sometimes I wonder if your obsession with him isn't pathological. There must be other boys than him at the academy. No, yeah, but they're all losers. Even the clan heirs? The Inuzuka looks cute. Mom! She whined. He is always with his dog. Akamaru is adorable, but I don't want to sleep next to him like Kiba does. I would rather date Naruto than him. Mabuki's look hardened at this admission. Sakura, you know that I don't want you near that boy. He's bad news. I know, Mom. She rolled her eyes. I was just joking. That, and I don't think he would take my attempts at scoring with him well. Not after Hinata's death, she added sadly. Mabuki narrowed his eyes. The tragic fate of the Hyuga clan was still vivid in her mind. What does he have to do with the Hyuga heir? The events had happened like the destruction of the Uchiha clan years ago. One day, Hinata Hyuga died under mysterious circumstances. The day after her funeral, her whole family had been eradicated. In one night, men, women and children were savagely murdered by an unknown assailant. While traces of a fight and the bodies of everyone were found, the police force found itself unable to identify those responsible for the massacre. This time, the famed clan genius hadn't defected. Niji Hyuga had been assassinated next to his uncle. The terrifying event scared the whole village. Had Itachi Uchiha returned? Had a new psychopath emerged? What was the motivation of the killer? Would he strike again? And simply, How could someone wipe out the strongest clan of Konoha in one night, without leaving a single survivor behind? Even the demon couldn't do that. In fact, he was always with her, her daughter said. They were great friends. In fact, sometimes I wonder if he had a crush on her. Mabuki repressed a laugh. The demon, in love with the young Hyuga? He must have been sad. He was completely broken. He hasn't pranked anyone since her death. Mabuki didn't respond. She knew, unlike her daughter, that the demon couldn't love anyone. He couldn't feel anything but joy at the death of others. He must have faked his sadness to better hide his true nature as a remorseless, selfish, and destructive creature. I see. Anyway, I hope I'm not on his team, Sakura stated. The assignments have been delayed after Hinata's sudden death, but I will probably be in Sasuke-kun's group. She smiled. Believe it, Mabuki sighed. Anyway, come back for lunch. Yes, Mom! She shouted as she left the house. Hidden in the shadows, he looked at the young girl. She was happy, and he wasn't. Kill her, bleed her dry, make her beg for your forgiveness. No, he was happy. 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 He was No, you aren't. She has stolen your sunshine. She must die for you to feel good. No. Oh, no, no, no. The impulse was coming, he tried to repress it. He had to think about something else. Not about killing her, no. He closed his eyes and thought about his last meal, about his successful graduation, about those who had passed too, and then he thought about Hinata. They were all dead. All bleeding, these broken dolls. His senses noticed the little girl hiding behind the door. He turned his head to face her. I know you're here, she squealed. No, the dying clan head muttered. Not my daughter, please, not Hanabi, he sneered at him. I will make you watch. You will be as helpless as I have been. His claws cut through the wooden gate. He returned to reality, now red. The girl had just entered a street. Kill, tear her apart, make her scream. He didn't resist. He couldn't. The voices were too strong. The bloodlust was too great. He had lost the battle against himself again. Where is she? Mabuki questioned herself. She is an hour late. Getting out of her house, the mother looked at the empty street. Sakura! Where are you? She shouted. Nobody answered her. Sakura! She yelled. Silence. Sakura! To Izumo, the group in front of him was a strange one. This merchant caravan was truly atypical. None of its members were older than 30, and they were a truly disparate ensemble. 3 of them looked like they were brothers and sisters, which they were. All blonde, all with green eyes and all with a pale skin. Izumo briefly mistook the littlest boy for the demon brat, until he noticed his lack of whiskers marks and the different color of his eyes. The 2 other members were older, but barely. One was a young man with black hair and glasses, the second a redhead, and the spokesperson of the group. Here is our identifications, Mr. Guard, he said as he gave him some documents. After having read them, he gave them to Kotetsu. Is everything in order? His friend nodded. They are perfectly authentic. I recognize the daimyo's signature. Izumo returned the identifications. Then welcome in Konoha, Shinja-san. Shinja Takano nodded, while Adachi Tojo smiled. The blonde teenager, Kazama Erasure, thanked them, before taking his 2 siblings, Akane and Chibaku, with him as he crossed the gates, the other 2 behind them. As they disappeared, Izumo found himself praying for their safety. With the current murders in town, they would need it. I can't believe it worked, Kabuto smiled. But it did. The effectiveness of your advanced henge is incredible, Kazama-san. Naruto Uzumaki, also known as Kazama Erasure, smirked as he continued to walk through the streets. Thank you, Adachi-san, but you also had a part in its completion. He would never have guessed that his sexy no jutsu could be used like this, and he certainly didn't expect the medic to make it hold under force. A true physical transformation that couldn't be dispelled easily was the perfect disguise, as it had shown itself to be. Of course Aniki's jutsu is incredible, Akane, or rather Naruko, declared. He is the best ninja in the world. The younger Naruto, Chibaku, snorted. He is competent, I admit, but Shinja-sensei is the one who holds the title of best ninja in the world. He defeated our counterpart with only 1 seal. That didn't count, she said. He attacked him from behind and threatened me. In a straight fight. There is no straight fight with ninjas, he pointed out. There is no such a thing as fighting dirty. Then why does the expression exist? She asked. Because it is used by samurai, she snorted. Whatever, the young puppeteer smiled slyly, before eyeing Sasori. Why not testing that now? I won't fight Kazama-san, the artist stated. We all have more important things to do, and such a duel would blow our cover. Naruto nodded. We have to find our counterpart and check out if he is abused. If he is, we will help him. If he isn't, even if I doubt that, he thought, then we will simply continue our personal quests for a time. Shinji-san, Adachi-san and my counterpart will try to find this world Sasori, while I train with Naruko. Akane, I mean, he had almost forgotten that they could be heard. Konoha would probably identify them as spies if their real names were revealed to the public. Really? She asked. Are you going to teach me a kick-ass jutsu? The Kage Bunshin, he confirmed. One of my best techniques. Now that he didn't have to care about his actions on the long term anymore, since he could jump from one world to another, Naruto could complete his counterpart's training without attracting attention. Naru. Kazama-sensei, you're the best. Stop shouting, Sasori warned. Or I will have to use poison to knock you out. All right, she said. Killjoy, she muttered. I heard you. I always hear you. Naruko paled, while the younger Naruto fell on the floor laughing. Kabuto sighed. Why do I have the feeling this is going to be something usual in this team? Why are we working with them, Kazama-sensei? Naruko asked angrily to her mentor as they walked past Ino's flower shop, with some distance between the rest of the team. She was disguised, and didn't even take her prized headband, a situation she must have been unhappy with. At least, nobody is glaring at her anymore, Naruto thought. They're all jerks, the teenager smiled. Naruko, in your life, you will have to work with some people that you dislike, and you will have to support them. Some are far worse than our current friends. Simply ignore them. Indifference is the greatest contempt. But, Naruko. His voice was stern and sad. He narrowed his eyes at her. Bickering is funny as long as it is friendly, but don't let it degenerate into animosity. It will end badly, for you and for my counterpart. A smile formed on his face. A hollow one. I learned this lesson the hard way, believe me. Naruko eyed him uncomfortably. I understand, she said. His smile became real. I hope you do. I really hope you. He hit an immobile Kabuto, and barely avoided falling on the ground. Sorry, Ada, another victim. Someone shouted. The child killer strikes again. Naruto frowned, as he eyed the crowd of people in front of him. They were listening to a man, who had just pasted a poster on the wall beside him. It displayed the photo of Chuji? Naruko asked. Naruto nodded gravely, before motioning her to stay silent. The Akimichi wasn't the only one shown on the poster. The traveler also saw the photos of Kiba, Ino, Shikamaru, Sasuke, Sakura, and many other children he had known at the academy. At least 20 kids were pictured there, their names under their faces. Alongside that, a short message, 21 children methodically murdered. The killer is still on the loose. The council has offered a reward of 100 million ryo for his capture. Be wary, he is armed and dangerous. 100,000 ryo for any information leading to the murderer's identification. Go to the Inuzuka police station if you have any information. Even the smallest bit can help catch the monster. What the fuck is that? The blonde puppeteer asked. Apparently, Sasori stated, Konoha's children are preyed upon by a serial killer. I didn't know, the poster wasn't explicit enough, he deadpan. But can't we get more details? Perhaps, the older puppeteer said. But we shouldn't move. With the current atmosphere, this crowd might not stay calm for long. I agreed, the traveler said. Why not go to a hotel? I think there is one near the city center. So it began a week ago? The receptionist nodded. Yes, Shinji-san. The first victim was a girl named Sakura Haruno. Her body was found in an alley. It was a horrendous spectacle. After her, the murders have continued, and now each day we wake up knowing that another child is now dead. The police are powerless and everyone suspects everyone else. Sasori frowned. Are you sure it is the same murderer? Oh yes. Each of the corpses looks like they had been the toy of a savage beast, and all have been attacked while they were alone, with no witnesses. In fact, the police think it is the same monster that exterminated the Hyuga clan some time before. The Hyuga clan has been wiped out. Sasori's eyes widened, as he heard the rest of the group gasp in horror. Down to the last child, the receptionist confirmed. In one night, everyone in their compound was killed savagely. The clan defended itself, apparently, but it wasn't enough. To destroy a whole clan, Some say that it's Itachi again. That's crazy, his apprentice whispered. I see, thank you for the information. No problem. It's my job to answer questions. Smiling, Sasori turned toward the rest of the team. Let us talk in our room. I can't believe it, her sensei winced. I know, Akane. But we have a killer in Konoha that even the police can't stop. We have to be wary. Can't we help? She asked. I'm sure that together we can arrest this beast. I doubt that we will succeed where the whole police force has failed. It's only a matter of time before he is arrested anyway. When all the clans coordinate their efforts, we can't do anything to help them. But we can't watch over all the kids in the city. Technically, he could, with the Kage Bunshin, but doing so would attract the attention of the authorities, which would probably cause more problems than his actions would solve. Heck, the police might mistake him for the killer. And since we are in another universe, everyone can be the murderer. Everyone. Since it didn't happen back in your Sasori's homeworld, we don't have any relevant information. He gritted his teeth. It disgusts me, but I don't see what we can do. Naruko stayed silent. Maybe our counterpart will help us. Maybe, he said as he continued to walk through the streets. Night had fallen on Konoha, so nobody would see them go to the other Naruto's apartment, allowing them to avoid many of the questions that would have soon followed. I hope he's nice, Naruko said. Or at least I hope he's better than this perv. Kill them all. She fell on the ground, screaming, the noise resonating in her head. She was cutting through the Anbuyu's body as if it were butter. Eviscerating him, she then looked sideways at the second one, a female with the face of a cat. Out of my way, she told her. The Anbuyu didn't obey. A child and a man were hiding behind her, terrified. Leave. Now. The Anbuyu shouted as she charged Naruko. Show her our power. Despite her best effort, she obeyed the command of the voices. She tried to rip the Anbyu apart with her claws, but she gracefully avoided the attack, riposting with a swing of her blade. Naruko's hard skin stopped the blade, which broke. I apologize for what I must do, she said to her. Keep your lies for another demon. The Anbyu shouted. She punched Naruko in the belly before kicking her in the head. I don't lie, she told her attacker. No, we don't. We are real. You are just a dream, and we will erase your existence from this wretched world. We will not be denied our sacrifice. No, we will not be denied, Naruko muttered. Beg and die. Scream for us. Honor our name, pitiful mortal. We are the devil. Dozens have fallen before us. You will die too. Naruko, she heard her sensei's voice, and saw him trying to make her return to reality. But then, in an instant, she was in another place. You cannot escape me. She roared as she pursued the man and the child through the forest. She was still covered with the blood of her last prey. Honorable grandson, the man said. Go to the town. Warn the Hokage that the Kyuubi has awoken again. Boo! Run! I will try to give you some time. He shouted as he turned around, a kunai in hand. It's up to us now, Naruko laughed. I will flay you alive, and then wear your skin as my new jumpsuit. Naruko, get up, little girl. You're not him and he isn't you. Naruko was now in her sensei's arms. His look was a horrified one. Yes, Naruto-sensei? He relaxed a bit. You just passed out. I don't know, she said. It was so real. It was, she squealed in surprise, much to her sensei's incomprehension. I'm hearing voices, a voice. I'm the only one here. Okay, there might be one or two repressed personalities of yours around here, but I really don't want to know them, they're creepy. What the fuck are you? She asked, before noticing Naruto's expression. She blushed. Thanks, now Naruto-sensei thinks that I'm crazy. He didn't need my help to realize that. Shut up, Naruko, her sensei asked. Is it the Kyuubi? The Kyuubi? She repeated. Good guess. Yes, I'm the Kyuubi. And the images in your mind came from another me, its mind briefly connected with my own, resulting in your fainting problems. What did it say? Naruto asked. Apparently, another Kyuubi has squatted in my mind, making me hallucinate. I'm currently communicating with the puppeteer's Kyuubi, and it has had the same problems. We can protect you and your counterpart from its influence, but you must stay away from it. Why? It is unstable. Or at least, patently violent and unpredictable. His host is as unbalanced as it is. In fact, what? He might be the killer they search for in town. What? She shouted. My counterpart is the serial killer? Naruto frowned, and the Kyuubi confirmed it. He is currently fighting with a man, and winning. The kid you saw is currently fleeing, so you should hurry if you want to save him. Where are they? In the forest. You can't miss the spot, It's right after the dismembered body of an Anbu. Naruto-sensei, our counterpart is crazy and wants to kill someone in the forest. The teenager frowned, before making a few hand seals. Kage-bunshin. Immediately, 20 clones appeared beside him. You too, take Naruko with you and bring her to Sasori. The rest of you, you know what to do. He looked at his unconscious prey, and hesitated. Go on, kill him, take your price. No, he said. No, I won't. Don't be a fool. It's your right to slaughter the weak. Remember what his grandfather has done. You can't let him get away with it. Struggling, he managed to ignore the voices. As he transformed back into his original form, he sat on the ground, beside his victim. As the voices tried to convince him to change his mind, he simply stayed silent. He had to resist. How long would it take for the Sandame's forces to find the duo before he felt compelled to kill again? The murderer was there, sitting in the shadows. The unconscious boy was lying on the ground, beside him. His orange jumpsuit was torn apart, and his stare was completely hollow. I know you're there, the blonde boy said. Come on, show yourself. Are you afraid? Naruto shook his head negatively, eyeing his counterpart as he approached him. I am not. Wrong, he said, with a sad smile. I detect a faint, repressed scent of dread in your heart. You're afraid of what I am. He's right, he thought. I'm scared, because he is what I could have been. This boy is what I would have been if I had snapped. I have always been scared of one day becoming the very kind of monster I was fighting against. This fear was now incarnated in this boy. And your scent is strange, the evil counterpart stated. Just like my own. Who are you exactly? Naruto stayed silent, blatantly ignoring the question. Before staring at the boy, he immediately recognized him. Konohamaru has done nothing to you. Who cares? His grandfather ruined my life. The statement was cold and harsh. His incompetence destroyed my childhood. His eyes became red for an instant. Now it's my turn to break him, just as I have broken the parents of Konoha. He locked eyes with his older, scared counterpart. The young boy's gaze was now blue. How did you guess it was me? My fox form doesn't have a scent nor fingertips, and my pheromones can mask my captive's odors and chakra signatures, so how did you track me down? How did you guess it was I who abducted this kid? So that's how he avoided pursuit for so long. The Inuzuka are too reliant on their dogs to hunt someone without a scent. Wait, did he say we're fox? I know you more than you think, Naruto. Then you should know what it is to be like me, don't you? He asked with a pathetic voice. The world traveler nodded. I can't stop myself, he cried. Tears rolled from his eyes. Naruto found himself taken aback by the spectacle. I know it's wrong, but I can't stop. The voices push me to do it. They are always with me, always. When I walk, when I eat, when I sleep, they goad me into killing, into destroying everything I don't like. I try to resist their call, but sometimes I can't. He fell on the floor holding his head with his hands. I know it's wrong, but I can't stop myself. When I see people happy, I can't help but give in to my urges for blood. I can't help but find joy in people's misery and despair. And when I realize what I've done, I'm horrified. The voices sing their approval, while I'm consumed with remorse. But then I see another happy couple, and the cycle starts all over again. He screamed, and the traveler winced. I'm a vile, cursed being, but I can't go against my inner nature. I can't help but envy these kids, who have everything I ever wanted but will never have. I can't help but hate these parents who glare and make my life a living hell. I can't help but want to destroy everything they hold dear, so they feel my pain and loneliness, and I can't help but channel my impulses into murder and violence. He smiled. It was an obvious fake one. I tried to do something else. I tried to be happy. I tried to befriend children. I tried to help people, but nothing worked. My smile only met scornful looks. The children bullied me and rejected me, and I failed to help anyone. Hinata. I tried to help her pass. I did everything to help her, down to forging her results, so she wouldn't end up with the caged bird seal. But even when she became a genin, it wasn't enough for her clan. They used the seal on her, so her sister could inherit the rank of heiress. She dreamed of peace, so she did not resist. She did not flee. And she died from the procedure. She died screaming and crying. And the world rejoiced. His smile twisted into a despaired, dead face. His eyes were as red as blood, and his voice deeper than normal. I'm the only one that came to her funeral, with the Sandame Hokage. Then when her father finally came, I thought that maybe at least he loved her a little. But then he touched Hanabi's shoulder, and do you know what he told her? he asked. Naruto shook his head. He told her, "Don't cry for this failure." Right before Hinata's corpse, his older counterpart paled. The Sandaime said nothing. Nothing. He only intervened when I tried to attack the Hyuga bastard for killing his daughter. He went off without any problem, while I got scolded for assaulting a clan head. Can you understand what I felt when the Hokage, my idol, simply told me to act as if nothing had happened? Can you imagine what I felt when I saw all of my ideals about justice and morality being trampled on by my hero? Can you imagine? He yelled, completely incensed. His eyes returned to their blue color, and his voice became normal again. So I snapped. I gave up. The voices returned, and this time I accepted the power they offered me. The power to kill anyone, the power to punish every sinner, the power to spread my pain in every heart. One night, I used it to destroy the Hyuga clan. Funny, how their unbeatable Jukin proved itself useless against my fur and my claws. I killed everyone, down to the last child, the slaves who knelt before their abusers out of cowardice, and the masters who oppressed for the sake of oppression. Everyone. He slammed his fist on the ground, but the nightmare didn't end. The glares continued, the voice's advice became more convincing, and the power tainted my soul more and more, diluting it with promises of revenge. And deep down, I realized that despite everything, I liked the situation. I liked to kill people, to hurt and to destroy. It disgusted me, but deep down I wanted to make others suffer, even when they were innocents. But there is no such thing as an innocent, no? In this world of hurt without justice, how is it possible to distinguish the pure and the wicked? When good is not rewarded and evil not punished, why do morals exist? To keep the sinless grounded, while the corrupt prospers? His eyes became red, and his face became more animal-like. Naruto immediately took a battle stance. You don't have to sink to their level, he shouted. Murder is not the solution to our problems, it only perpetuates them. Don't listen to the voices, they only want to corrupt you. Death is our only escape from this pointless life, the transforming boy stated. Fur and a tail grew, fangs and claws appeared, and his size doubled, an act that opened new holes in his jumpsuit. He now looked like a mix between a fox and a human, neither one nor the other. It wasn't the Kyuubi's chakra that caused this transformation, it was simply natural. Has he fused with the Kyuubi to the point of developing a bloodline? Perhaps it is an ability given to him by the demon, like Gaara's sand control? Death doesn't solve anything. It only spreads pain to the living. The pain will become hatred and stoke the fires of revenge. It's a vicious circle that you will begin. Without pain, people don't care about consequences for their actions. They continue to make others suffer, until they receive a proper punishment. Only through misery shall the world learn peace. You will begin a spiral of death. An eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind. People will continue to fight their rivals until nothing remains. Is this the future that you want to build? Is this the future that Hinata would have wanted? He questioned. He had pressed the right button. The werefox's jaw dropped, and he stayed silent a moment. She died wishing for peace between the branch and the main house. She died wishing for justice. She died for her beliefs, only for her father to trample on them, then live by them, Naruto said. Realize her dream of peace, and don't give up on it. Her ideals cannot be realized. His despaired voice made Naruto cringe. They are still worth fighting for. Giving up on them is even worse than trying to realize them, even if it's not possible. Do you think she would have wanted you to become the very monster she reviled? Do you want to accept the dark destiny that Konoha wanted you so badly to follow? Are you going to give them the satisfaction of being right? Prove them wrong. You can be better than them all, if you try hard enough. Justice is perhaps a utopia, but you can help her progress wherever you can. Don't waste Hinata's death. I can't repress my impulses, he shouted. I can't help but try to hurt people. The voices are goading me into murdering them, then hurt the wicked. If you can't help but kill people, then channel your impulses toward destroying those that deserve their fate. Killing everyone is not necessary. Hinata's father deserved his punishment, but not Hanabi. She couldn't do anything to help her sister. The children that you kill mustn't pay for the crimes of their parents. Justice won't be blind as long as you are its eyes. Eradicate the guilty but protect the innocent, that's what you can do. The werewolf grabbed his head, before screaming. Naruto winced at the horrible sound. As the shriek resonated in the building, the creature changed appearance. The fox elements of anatomy disappeared, giving way to a 12-year-old child in a torn outfit. He locked eyes with his older counterpart. Who are you? An angel, Who has come to show me the right way? Naruto smiled. I'm neither an angel nor a demon. I am simply. He dissipated the advanced henge, revealing his face to the amazed boy. You. Near the forest's border, Naruto and his clones, each holding a boy on their back, met the rest of the group. They seemed to be waiting for him. All frowned at the view of his sleeping counterpart. Naruto stayed emotionless. He has a problem, he stated as he placed him on the ground, his clone imitating him. He needs help. I can't believe I'm a serial killer in this world, the puppeteer Naruto muttered to himself. Kabuto knelt beside the two children, before performing a medical diagnostic. Strange, your counterpart's cellular structure is abnormal. He can transform into a werfox at will, he explained. He doesn't need the Kyuubi's chakra to do so, but it seems to increase the mental hold the bijou has over him. It allowed him to avoid capture, but, I see, Kabuto said. It does explain some things. His cells are acting strangely, as if they had a mind. Perhaps the Kyuubi is controlling them? I don't know, but he is tormented by different voices that compel him to kill. The seals should protect him from the Kyuubi's influence, Sasori stated. Take off his jumpsuit. Naruto obeyed, revealing the yandame's seal to everyone. Sasori frowned. It is perfectly normal. Wait, you said he was hearing voices? Seeing the blonde's nod, the missing nin frowned. I don't know if I'm right, but I think he might have developed some kind of mental illness. With the Kyuubi's influence, anything is possible. It might even be a bloodline. If only we had more time. We don't, the puppeteer Naruto stated, as he observed a number of lights coming toward them. Konoha has noticed the disappearance of their leader's grandson. The Inuzuka are leading them. They must have followed Konohamaru's odor, now that the werfox's pheromones aren't masking his scent, Naruto stated. Sasori locked eyes with Kabuto. I have a plan. Naruto stayed immobile, even as several ANBU appeared on the scene. He was unfazed by the mobs coming with torches and pitchforks. Kill the demon! Chusa Akimichi ordered. Burn him! A man shouted. Execute this child killer! Sakura's mother yelled. He must die for what he did to the Hyuga clan. Finally, the Sandaime Hokage appeared, followed by two ANBU. Naruto identified one of them as Kakashi, eyeing his unconscious grandson. His eyes were radiating with fury. He stared at the unconscious killer. Naruto Uzumaki, he declared with a cold tone, I have overlooked many of your misdeeds, and it has cost Konoha dearly. I won't commit the same mistake again. Misdeeds? Everyone looked at Naruto, who glared at them furiously. You dare you make him the criminal? He is your victim, he yelled. You created him. You twisted him, you warped him, until nothing human remained in him. You made his life a living hell, and now you condemn him for lashing out against you? Our children did nothing, Ino's father said. Naruto never did anything. Years of repressed feelings were now expressing themselves. You tortured him for the crime of another. He isn't the Kyuubi and never was. You made him a scapegoat. And you insulted the yandame's last wish only so you could hate something. You disgust me. How do you know about that? The Sandaime narrowed his eyes, and the crowd paled. This is an S-rank secret. Naruto clenched his teeth. It doesn't matter. What matters is what will happen to him. He glared at them. I won't let you condemn him. He is ill, and needs to be healed, not executed. He took the young blonde in his arms. I'm sorry to say this, but he has crossed the line, the Sandaime replied. We cannot allow this murderer to live anymore. We can say the same for you, Sarutobi Dano. Sasori faced the assembled crowd. You too have blood on your hands for not so noble reasons. The Uchiha's fate attested, the Hokage paled, and the existence of Root even more. To his credit, Sarutobi quickly corrected his expression, the mob looking at him questioningly. What's the meaning of this, Hokage-sama? Shikako Nara asked. This man knows some of Konoha's darkest secrets, he stated. I want him to be detained and interrogated. If you do that, my agents will spill the beans to the 4 other Kages, Sasori smirked. You don't want the start of another shinobi war, do you? Think about it, Hokage Dano, the Hokage frowned. What do you want? To talk in private, and to have Naruto spared, but we can't let him. Quiet! The Sandaime interrupted Chusa's words. This is a very important matter, but Naruto will be detained while awaiting my judgment, the Sandaime declared, before gazing at Sasori, then at his 3 companions, then at the 2 Naruto. We will talk in my office. I want to know everything, Sasori smiled. You will, Hokage-sama. You will. As the ANBU escorted them to the Hokage Tower, Naruto sensed his asleep counterpart stiffen. It will be all right, he muttered to him. The boy instantly relaxed. Sandame Gigi, you will need an explanation for this situation. Badly, after receiving Sasori's hidden signal, Kabuto successfully left the mob which he had infiltrated, still under his civilian disguise. Kazama's clone, under an advanced henge, continued to follow the group. Kabuto opened the door of the hotel. He had to prepare the group's belongings, since they would probably leave the town within the day. Running for their life, apparently, the medic noticed something strange. Nobody was there to welcome him. Kabuto looked sideways behind the counter. Perhaps he could find a note or something. He only saw the receptionist's dead body on the floor. Kabuto only had the time to widen his eyes before he sensed someone grabbing his head. Instantly, his mind blacked out as his memories were brutally extracted from his brain, killing him on the spot. Casually, Madara let the corpse of the medic fall on the floor. Processing the information gathered from his mind, the man with the Rinnegan hesitated between waiting for his other self to return and immediately destroying Konoha with a Shinra Tensei. Now that he knew that his actions didn't matter on the long term, since he could jump from one world to another, he didn't fear to attract the attention of the 5 great nations anymore. His internal debate ended when he sensed 2 people materializing behind him. Turning around, Madara stared at the duo. The first Madara who had contacted him had brought another self as reinforcement. This one was wearing his old, red Uchiha armor, had longer hair than them, and was wearing his first mask, the one covered with dark spots. He was carrying a gourd and a mirror on his back, and a strange, green jewel was encrusted in his mask. Madara nodded to his other self before shaking hands with him. Enchanted, my other self? The pleasure is all mine, myself, the alternate Madara said. What happened to the Sharingan on your left? Consumed by the Izanagi. To save myself from Hashirama's blade, Madara stated. I replaced it with the legendary Rinnegan. He pointed to his other eye with a finger. The armored Madara nodded. So you have bred a new sage of the 6 paths? Yes, but some idiot killed him before his gift could mature. Cursed Hanzo. At the time of his death, Nagato hadn't fully unlocked all the powers contained in this eyes, forcing him to complete the job after implanting it on himself. Worse, without a powerful figurehead, his plans to gather a powerful army while staying in the shadows had been completely ruined, and dozens of years wasted. Madara had been more or less on his own until his counterpart came to his aid. You, on the other hand, you have apparently gathered a few treasures instead. His counterpart straightened up. After my defeat at the valley, I understood that I could only believe in myself. So I have collected everything that could improve my abilities. The Sword of Tatsuka, the Kusanagi, the Yata Mirror, the Magatama Jewel, the 5 artifacts of the First Sage, they are all in my possession. Madara admired his other self's determination. He had never obtained any of these items in his lifetime, only seen them, and obtaining them must have been a long and arduous quest. Mastering their power must have taken a lifetime, and an incredible willpower. And you, my dear twin? The armored Madara asked his last counterpart. What have you done in your world? The immortal chuckled, before revealing his arm to the duo. Both awed, 10 Sharingan were transplanted in his skin. You massacred this clan of betrayers? Madara asked, while his armored counterpart stayed silent. I am impressed, thank you. What happened to your world's Uchiha clan? One of them went rogue and killed them all, because they were unworthy to live, Madara declared. Itachi Uchiha, I think his name was. He is a true, pure Uchiha, uncorrupted by Konoha's teachings. In this world, Itachi massacred his clan under the Hokage's order, as I had predicted it would happen, the armored Madara said. I killed this fanatic later, for stealing my revenge. At least, these backstabbers are dead in all worlds I have visited, the clan killer announced. Karma does exist, it seems. He eyed Kabuto's cadaver. What happened here? It appears, Madara said, that this world's Kyuubi Jinchuriki is far less weak than his counterparts. He has decided to take revenge on the Leaf, by crippling its next generation of ninjas. Has he succeeded? His armored self asked. Unfortunately, our prey has intervened and interrupted the killing spree, much to my disappointment. The Jinchuriki has been captured, but his counterparts have decided to spare him. They are currently talking with the Sandame Hokage. He gazed at his 2 twins questioningly. What do we do? They won't expect an attack so soon. The armored Madara seemed to hesitate, but the clan killer shook his head. We will wait for them to return to the hotel. We are outnumbered, and we will not have a second chance. The world traveler is our only target, the others are just potential hostages. If they want to leave, they will need their equipment. We will attack them by surprise. He stopped. It's going to be confusing during the battle, if we all use Madara to call each other. Why not finding code names, just in case? The two counterparts thought about it. Why not using the names of the gods, who have gifted our clan with the three great techniques? Amaterasu, Tsukiyomi, and Susanoo? Since many of my items had, according to the legends, belonged to her, I will take the name of Amaterasu. The clan killer nodded. Why not? Being the master of deceit and illusion, I will adopt the name of Tsukiyomi. Madara nodded. Being the possessor of the strongest power of my world, I will adopt the name of Susanoo. Tsukiyomi nodded. And soon, all realities will bow down before us, as the mortals bow down before gods. God, the title would suit them well.